Okay, let's go. Stu, are you gonna do the phone thing first?
First?
Sure, why
The
not?
phone thing.
Okay.
Does this have to do with the dentist story?
This is mysterious.
No.
We don't even know. We don't even know what this is.
Well, okay, the context is that Stu's been playing Woody Woodpecker Racing a lot recently.
He's also been playing Settlers of Catan.
Well, that's not related.
But we should play
I
that
was
as
calling his grandma. Okay, that's right.
What? I'm not aware of
He
this.
said he was going to call his grandma earlier.
I'm not aware of this bit.
Hello. Hey, I'm here with my friends. Can you do your Woody Woodpecker laugh? Can you? Yeah, thank you.
Dude, I didn't know your grandma was Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah, she does it better than anyone I know.
That's a good impression.
I always used to watch that cartoon.
Yeah.
Aww.
Okay, we have to go now.
Have fun.
Bye.
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 Stu, you have the world record in every map on that game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
by the way, Stir is a freaking god.
Dude, by the way, I played that game. I like certain things about it more than Crash Team Racing. One, turning is very satisfying. You can very quickly break turn, and it's very fun. And,
Okay, yeah.
And
Having a good brake slide is really good.
Yeah, and I like the punching, but it's also very annoying when it happens to you. But it is fun to control.
Yeah, that seems like something you would specifically
Yeah,
like most.
I like things that are really annoying in games, but also really fun when you do them to other people. To me, that's a worth it.
No wonder
trade.
you like Mario Kart in that case.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like one of those obnoxious games.
Anyway, I don't know how much of that I'm going to cut out, but let's talk about Animorphs now.
I thought you were talking about your dentist story.
Oh yeah, I can't talk about the dentist first. This might go at the end. So I don't know if this was said on the podcast, but multiple times, Stu and I have talked about this thing that our dentists do, where when I turned 18, the dentist put a flat plastic triangle vertically in my mouth to measure.
Protractor?
No, it was a triangle though.
Okay.
Protractor.
It was a protractor specifically designed for measuring teeth whiteness.
No, I googled dentist triangle measure. I couldn't find anything that looks like this, but it's just a plastic flat triangle. And she was like, "Oh, open your mouth as big as you can," and she jammed it in to measure how big I could open my mouth. And it only happened when I was 18, and it never happened after that. It was really weird.
And it never happened to me or Ben, actually.
Yeah, no, anyone I've asked, they said they've never done this before.
It's pretty suspicious. These two went to this dentist in this small town. They did this procedure. At the moment you turn 18, maybe when you turned 18, they put the triangle in your mouth and they're like, it's not good enough. And then they just never felt the need to do it again, is the thing.
I'm going to cut that out, I think.
Okay. It's implied. Whether or not you cut it out, everyone's thinking it.
I was not thinking that.
And we also, so I'll just say this first. So I went to my dentist.
We're in the dentist's office right now, actually. That's why that water sound is from when they put the water in your mouth. And
Yeah,
that's what
the
that
water
is.
sound. So yeah, I just got out of the dentist 5 minutes ago. And let me tell you what happened. First, I asked, "What's up with fluoride? Why do they only do fluoride when you're a kid?" And they were like, "Oh, that's just because kids."
They keep doing fluoride to me.
See, that's what Bean Axel said too.
Yeah.
But no, at my dentist, they only do it before you're 18 because kids are bad at brushing their teeth. And they said, no, when you're an adult, adults are usually bad at brushing their teeth, and mouthwash and toothpaste has some fluoride in it, and that's really enough to do what you need.
Yeah. Okay.
And I hated fluoride as a kid. I hated it, so I'm glad they don't. Now it's $30 as an adult if you want to do it for us, but I definitely don't want to do
My
that.
parents
I
always
certainly
say
wouldn't
just
pay
do
for
it, so I do it.
Wow.
I just pay the extra money.
Um,
Pretty sure my parents do it as well.
I've never heard of having to pay extra money to get fluoride.
yeah. Well, I'm glad my
So
dentist
maybe
doesn't
it's
do it
covered
anymore.
by my insurance or something.
Yeah.
But they don't ask me if I want fluoride.
Are your
either. They
parents
just do it.
with you at the dentist?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was asking this as I was lying down and you have work done, because they would make conversation with you. And then I said, oh, by the way, and this was near the end of my appointment. I was like, by the way, last time I was, this hasn't happened in a long time, but for some reason only one time or two times when I was here, they put a triangle in my mouth. And as I was saying that, she pulled out the triangle. It was like, oh, this? Yeah, open your mouth.
Oh my god.
It hasn't happened since I was 18. That was 5 years ago was the last time it happened.
Wait, they didn't do that with me.
They didn't do the triangle on you?
No.
Oh my god. Did you have a different dentist?
It's like Narnia. You have to mention it.
Yeah. No, but it was weird because.
And then they act like they're like, what? The triangle? There's always been the triangle.
I think she
What
had
are
it
you
in her
talking
mouth
about?
as I was before I even
You mean
asked
her
her. She had it
in
in
her
her hand.
mouth.
But I didn't.
She
like,
reached
pulled
in,
it out. And,
pulled the
this.
triangle out of her mouth like sword swallower style. Oh, you mean this? Sticks it in your mouth.
Yeah, so then it seemed much easier this time though, because I recall it. I remember like them being like, okay, open your mouth, no, as wide as you can, really open it. And this time she was like, oh, open your mouth, and let me measure that quick. And it was like a much easier thing, I feel like. And she said, yeah, that's to we do that because if someone gets in a car crash or something, it can like misalign their jaw, and that's just it's a really easy thing to check. And yeah, so we just do that quick, and then we'll know if
Wait, they
you
just
have
want to
like,
know
jaw
that
issues.
if you've been in a car.
Well, no, there's different
So they
things that
can
can do it. There's different things that can do
your
it.
jaw if it ever gets
I've never
messed
heard
up.
of this procedure in my life.
Me neither.
There's different things that can misalign your jaw and make it so you can't open it as wide. And they're like, oh yeah, if it's a lot smaller or bigger than usual, then we know something's wrong.
Well, that's
just
crazy
an
then,
easy way to check.
because the last time they made you open up your mouth like way wide, and this time apparently not. So like, of course, it's going to be different.
Well, it wouldn't be hugely different though. And she was like, yeah, and that can cause pain with people, and then we know. It's just a quick, easy thing to check. I was like, oh, well, how come they didn't do it? She's like, oh, well, that other dentist that you have a lot of the time, well, maybe not dentists, these are like the people coming before the dentist. I don't know exactly how it works. The dental hygienist, I think.
Yeah, the hygienist.
And she was like, oh yeah, Susie, she doesn't usually do that.
At my
and
dentist?
And she also said,
So this was the actual dentist.
no, this was the hygienist, but I have two different hygienists.
Right.
And I mean, let me just say, the
I
other
just go to a
hygienist,
different hygienist every time.
she freaking, when she was flossing my teeth last time I was at the dentist, she made my gums, but I was like crying because it hurt almost. She was like stabbing my teeth between my teeth, and I was like dreading getting it done this time. I was like flossing every day to make sure it wouldn't hurt, and she was like, this one was just gingerly like flossing my teeth like I do, and she wasn't stabbing, trying to like get a cut between my
sometimes
teeth.
I wonder if getting my teeth cleaned should be as painful as it is, because as an adult I've noticed that it's gotten more painful than
It really
I
shouldn't
remembered
be, I
being
don't
as a kid.
think.
But I don't know if that's just because they're being less gentle because I'm older now and I can
Maybe,
handle
yeah.
it, or if
Yeah.
I'm just like getting worse, or
Well,
if
this
my
dentist-
hygienist is turning into a psychopath. Or
This
what.
hygienist who does the triangle thing, she's very gentle with it, and I appreciate that a lot. Anyway, so one more fact about this is this hygienist said, oh yeah, this is the only dentist office I've ever worked at where they do the triangle thing. And I don't know how many she's worked at, but like, yeah, I guess it's not a very common thing, and only one of the hygienists
Never comes
does
to
it there.
It's
So yeah,
crazy.
I learned a lot about the triangle at this appointment.
Nice.
If you have any experience with the dentist measuring your triangle,
Our
teeth,
dear listener,
one
listener.
Go to anchor.fm/Animorphs book club with no spaces or anything.
/dentist
And
dash
send us a
triangle
voicemail. You can do
dot
that.
form.
It appears that Anchor no longer allows you to send voicemails to podcasts anymore. So your other options are to comment or email, or some other method that these chuckleheads have set up. Or you could do something productive with your life.
Oh, did I say? I did.
Fill out the Google form.
I don't know if I mentioned they only do the triangle when you turn 18. She said. I don't know why she didn't specify. So I was curious about that. And also, I during COVID I didn't go to the dentist, so that might be why they didn't happen as much. But I definitely went
mustard.
a few times.
Yes,
since
this is
I
not
did
an
the
X-ray.
triangle.
Because sometimes they put the stuff
Yes, I
in
know
your...
the X-ray is a different thing. No, the
Yes,
X-ray.
I'm just making sure that the listeners know that you're not talking about an X-ray.
No, this is just a triangle that all they do is they put it in your mouth and they measure. They don't X-ray you.
Yeah.
The X-ray thing is kind of an angle. So.
Yeah.
Right, like they
No,
put
this is like
this
a-
uncomfortable
There's
thing
like a
in your
perfect
mouth.
triangle. You can see it. It's like it's like a protractor, but it's a triangle.
Yes.
No hole in the middle. Anyway, let's okay, Animorphs time.
Animorphs.
I've been excited. By the way, I've been excited to tell that story since it happened. This was like, 5 minutes ago when I just left it out. The
Wilson
Yeah.
office
has
that
been
we're in.
so patient waiting for
Those 5 minutes
his
felt like
chance to
weeks,
tell us
though.
the story.
Yeah. Just trigger warning for this book. A lot of crazy stuff happens.
That's not a useful trigger warning.
What is useful?
Like mentions of racism, sexism, fascism, homophobia, the Holocaust, Nazis, forced breeding,
White supremacy.
white supremacy, death, normal Animorph stuff, extra gruesome gore, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's way better.
Okay. Welcome to the Animorphs book.
No!
Welcome to
Every time with this that's a different podcast. We're not allowed to
I
call
was
ourselves that.
literally about to correct myself. This is like the millisecond that you did. Okay, so why don't you calm your little tits down? Welcome to an Animorphs Book Club podcast. We aren't so, unlike some other podcasts, we aren't so arrogant as to call ourselves the podcast.
Hey, we love those guys though.
But they're arrogant. Alright,
Just
today...
like Andalites.
Today we read the third Megamorphs book. This one is called The Andalites Dinosaurs or something.
What? No.
Elfangor's Secrets.
That's the second one.
No. They all have this one has name is way too similar to the first one, which is the Andalite's Gift, and now it's Elfangor's Secret. And I'm pretty sure the first one's Andalite Gift was referring to Elfangor in some way. So like, it's too similar.
Yeah, if I saw this cover, I'd be like, oh yeah, I think I've read that book already.
The cover looks the same too. What was the cover of the first one even? Of the first Megamorphs?
No, that was just 4 squares with like one of them was a hawk. And
No, that was in the Time of the Dinosaur, which is also pretty similar.
No.
Well, 4 squares. Oh, you're right.
One
It's
of them
like
was
the
a
same
fly,
color.
one of them was a fly, one of them was a bear.
It's like the same color too. I guess we're talking about this cover now.
Sure, yeah.
cover of this book.
Mustard
Don't we
told me a
already
I like
story.
how everyone looks like they're just taking a picture except Cassie, who looks like she's in the moment.
That's what I was saying. I'm saying these guys look. These
This
guys.
is like a class photo, except for
Yeah,
Cassie.
they look like this is like the senior photo, and Cassie is like, "Whoa, what am I doing here?" And then Axe is just like chilling, and I don't know what's going on in the background there.
Axe looks like he understands what's going on better than Cassie does.
Cassie is like, "What?"
I think they just copied and pasted this Axe from
So here's my
some other
interpretation.
cover.
This scene
Honestly.
is the scene. Why is Tobias a human in this one? This scene. Why does Tobias have a?
He uses his human
He has
morph
a
in this
giant
book.
watch. I guess he does carry a
It's a
watch
normal
with him
size
as a
watch.
hawk sometimes.
What? Oh,
mean
on the
Jake?
other one.
On Tobias. Tobias is the orange guy.
What? No?
Yes, it is. That's
Oh my
gotta
gosh,
be.
it is. You're right. That is Jake with
Do
his
you think
pouty
that's
face.
Tobias in the front here?
I did, yeah.
No.
So
that's
did
Jake.
I. I thought that was
That's a different
Tobias.
guy for Tobias then, right? That's not the same
Yeah,
kid.
they keep changing it up.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's why I thought the guy on the bottom was Tobias.
Yeah.
That's not dirty blonde hair at all. That's even further than what it used to be.
He looks like he's wearing a beanie. Like that's. I know it's his
Yeah.
hair, but that's what it looks like. So here's my.
Is Marco different too?
This book depicts the scene.
No.
This book depicts the scene at Princeton University where Cassie gets called the gamer word, and all of the
Okay, we should summarize
all
the
the
book
other
before talking
characters
about
are
this cover.
just posing like, "Yo, bro," and Cassie's like actually taken aback, but the other ones they don't get it. Okay,
I think-
that's what's happening.
I want
So
to
we went
listen.
into that scene now. It was just
Well, you know, they take some
they
creative
showed up,
liberties.
except
They always
Jake.
take some creative liberties with these.
Okay, we should do the summaries. I feel like I want to say stuff about this cover, but the summary should be.
You know
done
what?
first.
Maybe it is the same guy, the same model for Tobias. It's just that we've only ever seen him. He only ever poses like to the side.
like a bird. He always looks.
Yeah,
like a
he
bird.
always is like posing like an Egyptian painting, where he's just like to the side.
So the way we're doing the summary is we split it into quarters. Because I think the previous Megamorphs books we like summarized. No, just the last one. We like summarized what each of us took a character and we summarized that character's chapters.
Listen,
And that was a horrible idea.
yeah.
So we just did quarters of the books this time, and that's fine. Be natural. You started. Wait, we didn't introduce ourselves, did we?
I'm being
No, we didn't. I'm better.
I'm Mustard.
All right.
Stir!
I'm Stir.
Stir, why did you pee so loudly just then?
That was a dentist.
No, that was Stir peeing this time. I see him pulling his pants
So that's
up.
the order we're going to do the summaries in. It's like chapter, like prologue to 21, and then 22 to 32. And we're doing it like that. or
Well, no, I'm
something.
doing chapters prologue through
Prologue
Oh, we're
10.
doing it in the order of our names, so that
Yeah.
actually makes sense.
I'm gonna do it. I'm doing a
Sure,
prologue to
convenient.
10. Okay.
I hope these aren't too long. Mine,
Okay.
I wrote mine like 10 minutes ago. And
Mustard, did you
Prologue.
really say that?
Prologue. It just recaps the Andalite Chronicles, basically, and says that it adds that Elfangor, when he was going to the construction site in Book 1, he was actually going to where he hid the time matrix. So that's basically what the prologue is.
if you don't know what the time matrix is, remember, that was in Andalite Chronicles.
It's just a thing that like makes you
It
time.
controls time.
Controls time. Also can make you go to different spaces as well. And even create new universes. But that was in the Andalite Chronicles. That's
I
not
don't
here.
remember that.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so then chapter 1. The Animorphs basically just stand around racistly until the Droid shows up, and he explains to them that the reason that they're so racist right now is because somebody like went back in time and like messed stuff up. So the Animorphs agree to go back in time, and go back and find the guy who went back in time and like stop him from changing all the stuff. The guy who went back in time is actually a human controller who used to be Visor 4, but now is not. But the book will continue to refer to him as Visor 4.
Okay, hang on. Let me...
What? Come on! You're so critical of my summaries. You're so nitpicky. You're like, oh, but they didn't mention that Marco was excited to play Pong. Shut up!
Let me just say, the whole everything was different. The world was different. It wasn't just that they were racist. And I think you specify they went back to not being racist.
They went back in time to when the Animorphs were 6 and like it did a minstrel show in front of them. That's the only thing that was changed.
And before they decided to change, the Drow changed them back into non-racist. And they're like, what the heck? Why is the world so racist now?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, let me just add that. It's not the racist Animorphs throughout the rest of the book. If anyone was worried about that.
No, only the first chapter of this book is
okay,
that
continue
bad.
your summary, sorry.
Then they go, so then how this works is they're gonna just, they're using like magic Drode and Kryak magic. Drode is the guy that works for Kryak. And they're using that magic to make the Animorphs like automatically follow the Visor 4 guy wherever he goes throughout history. And they use like, so basically wherever Visor 4 goes throughout history, the Animorphs are just gonna pop into place right after him.
Can I interrupt you again? I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
You're saying they use the magic, but like this is an important setting up.
It's not magic,
no. I think this is an important setup to the book, I think. They make a deal with the Drode who works for Kryak, and he says, okay, you guys...
Is this my summary or yours, Mustard?
You guys can go change this stuff. But in exchange, one of you has to die.
Master must be really excited about this book.
I'm the only one to give this book a thumbs up. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so then
all right, why don't you just summarize the whole thing?
I don't have a summary for that. I just think the setting up stuff is important to the rest of my. Like, if you say your summary wrong, then my stuff isn't going to make sense in my part of the summary.
So they agree that they're gonna sacrifice the life of one of them. They don't know who though. But somebody's gonna have to die for this, supposedly, for them to go on the wholesome 100 big chungus time.
Like, if you say
romp.
they use the magic, it makes me think like, oh yeah, they find the guy, and they're like, oh hey, we're gonna use your magic now. Like, that's not.
I already said the Drode shows up and offers them the deal. I said that. So anyway, they show up in like the Europe. Who cares? In like the French, there's like French and English fighting.
Yeah, who cares?
Rachel and Cassie fight the French knights. And then the boys show up and are like, why were you fighting the French knights? And then they're like, lol, IDK. And then they manage to find Visor 4 because he's the only person in the 15th century who's not visibly diseased. So that's how they identify him. He's just some white guy.
He's not stinky.
Whose summary is this?
Well, I only
have one chapter to go. Can you calm down? I have one chapter.
Mustard is so excited about
the English and the French start fighting, and then Marco's a bird. He gets shot and falls down. Whoopsie. I'm sure this will be really important to the plot. Okay, whoever's next, go.
I don't even remember that part.
Alright.
Well, it was really super important. I don't know how you forgot.
I'm summarizing chapters 11 through 21.
Yeah.
So Rachel is also a bird. She tries to save Marco but gets stuck as well. Cassie runs in as a horse to try and save him but ends up getting shot and falling over. Meanwhile, Axe spots Visor 4 in a tree and he plans to shoot King Henry with an arrow. King Henry being the king on the English side. Tobias is the closest, so he swoops in just in time to catch the arrow in midair, which tips Visor 4 off that they're actually Andalites and Morph. Jake acquires one of the war horses and morphs it while Tobias rides on top of him and Hork-Bajir morph. This scares the knights who think Tobias is the devil and they run away screaming, allowing Tobias and Jake to rescue Cassie, Marco, and Rachel. Axe chases Visor 4 through the woods, still in Harrier morph. Visor 4 runs into a church and slams the door. Axe starts demorphing to break in, but this causes the villagers nearby to freak out and start trying to kill him with pitchforks and the like. Luckily, Tobias rides in on Jake just in time to scare the villagers away, and they all run into the church. They find Visor 4 up in the bell tower where he has hidden the time matrix, but they're too late. He uses it to escape just in the nick of time. The Animorphs are suddenly transported to the American Revolution, where Washington is about to cross the Delaware. The Animorphs realize Visor 4 is probably planning on killing George Washington. Cassie morphs Dolphin so she can get closer to him while he's in the boat. Jake and Marco have both demorphed at this point, so they get on one of the boats that's about to cross. But all of a sudden, they start getting shot at. The Animorphs realize that Visor 4 has actually warned the Hessian troops that the revolutionaries were coming, and now they're mowing them down in the boats when it was supposed to be an ambush. Jake gets shot and dies. Rachel takes over and demands that Axe start attacking the Hessians. Axe knocks a lot of the Hessian soldiers down, but kills the one who shot Jake. This is a big deal for him because that was just a normal human and not a controller. After hearing your summary, I feel like mine is a little bit too detailed.
Yeah, I know. I thought that too about your summary. Which is fine.
Mustard just has opinions with a capital O on everyone's summary.
I didn't know the Hessians were.
Let's hear your amazing summary, Mustard.
Here's what I'm hearing.
I think all these summaries have been good, okay? I just want the setup stuff was important.
I think they've all been good,
right.
but mine is gonna be great.
Mine's not better than either of yours, I don't know.
Oh.
So let me get to my summary. I didn't
Okay, you can
this.
interrupt my summary as much as you want.
Welcome
So what are
to
you watching right now? What is that? Is that Glover?
welcome
What?
to the
Oh no, Stur's not getting into his Glover brain rot again, is he?
welcome to
He's
the
not even listening. Turn that off. He's not even responding. He's focused on Glover. What game is that?
It's Glover.
Turn it off.
I have to make sure. This guy's streaming Glover and he's like stuck. I have to make sure you can beat it.
No, you don't.
welcome to the People's Reviews of a Megamorphs 3 podcast. I'm Mustard, the only person in this podcast. These other three are my subjects who will be trying to provide me with my food that I eat.
I
for
mean, it
this,
is my podcast.
my fuel for this podcast. Feed me. All right.
Cassie sees Jake's dead body, and suddenly everyone time jumps again, except Jake, obviously, because he's dead. He was shot in the forehead with a bullet. They're suddenly on warships in the Atlantic
Oh, he was
Ocean.
shot with a
Covered
bullet.
that part,
Oh.
Yeah, those are actual. Whatever.
They're suddenly on warships in the Atlantic Ocean during a battle near Trafalgar in Spain. Cassie appears in the ocean instead, though, on a ship. So she morphs into a dolphin and swims around for fun. It's like the 1800s or something.
She was already a dolphin and she just goes into the water.
What? I thought she appeared in the ocean and then she morphed into a
She
dolphin.
appeared into the ocean. She was already a dolphin in the lake.
Oh, she already a
in the
dolphin.
river.
What?
Oh
Because
my
she was
god!
Mustard!
I didn't.
Was
He was
Jake
too
a
busy. He was too
too
busy
busy
writing down that Jake got
creating.
shot with a bullet.
I didn't actually write that down. I
Was
just said it
Jake a
because I didn't
dolphin
remember
too?
Vado saying it.
Huh?
I did say it!
Okay, I know he died, but I don't remember saying he
I
got
said
shot.
Jake gets shot and dies. What else do I need to
Was he a
establish in
dolphin?
that
Was it with a
sentence?
bullet?
No, he was a human. Who was it who said that like Capelgate will never write the kids like getting hurt as
Me.
humans?
I said that lots of times.
He literally he gets shot in the forehead.
Yeah, but he
and
doesn't
then
stay shot, does he?
They say the back of
No,
they
but
never stay
The
injured.
back of his head gets freaking blown open and
Yeah.
exploded and turned him
That's
up.
pretty
They say
epic.
the back of his head is gone. They
Yeah.
just say that,
It's terrifying.
Anyway, frick, what was that?
and he's a human.
I guess he did have his neck snapped at one time.
Yeah, that was cool.
What was that?
This book was a lot like that one in book 11. We'll get to that.
He was a monkey.
I don't think these guys were pirates, but I'm going to probably refer to them as pirates on accident because they have pirate energy because they're on a ship in the
They're not
1800s.
I was really worried that Kay Applegate was going to say, and then I looked up and there was a flag with the skull
Good
and
job.
crossbones, and I said, "Oh dang!" Like I was honestly expecting that
Remember,
sentence.
guys, this is still the summary, so let's keep.
So anyway, some of the pirates see Rachel and get horny, and then Rachel morphs into a chimpanzee and tries to kill Visifor, but she gets blown in half by a cannonball and dies. Visifor makes like a Looney Tunes style trail of gunpowder leading to an explosive barrel, and he lights the end of it and then leaves using the time matrix. Now the Animorphs are on Princeton University campus in 1934. Tobias is alone at first, looking for the others. He sees Cassie, who suddenly appears on the sidewalk as a dolphin. When she turns back into human, one of the guys on the campus calls her the N-word, so she turns into a polar bear and threatens him. For the record, the book does not say the N-word in it, but it is heavily
Applegate had
implied.
just barely enough restraint to not write it, but
Just write the
seriously,
actual
based on the
word.
other stuff that's actually in this book,
Yeah.
Well, no, she never writes swear words either.
We'll get to that. I lost my face
hell
again.
And damn, I think.
No, but there's
No,
a
she
lot of
doesn't.
times
So
where
she's
she's like.
She definitely writes hell.
But there's a lot of times where she's like, oh, and then the adult said something that I can't repeat.
That's in
I
this book a
assume
couple
that that
times.
point they're saying like, like
Yeah.
she actually says hell, and I'm pretty sure she said damn at some point.
Maybe in certain contexts. Anyway, don't say the F word on this podcast. This is a clean family podcast, especially this episode where nothing inappropriate happens in the
It's
book.
a G-rated book.
We're going to talk
This
about
book is
that.
rated Y7.
Then Marco and Rachel also show up. Rachel's alive somehow. They think that Visifor probably went here because he wanted to kill Albert Einstein, but because of the altered timeline, Albert Einstein's in Germany instead. Oopsie daisy. Then they realize that Rachel's probably alive because at the beginning of the book, the droid said that Kryak requested one of the lives as part of the deal. Remember that part of the submarine? Meaning only one of them can actually die. They're not sure about this yet. And then Visifor starts time jumping to a bunch of different places with the goal of getting the Animorphs to lose him, I guess. It doesn't really work, though. And then eventually they end up in Normandy on D-Day in World War II.
Okay.
Stop looking at Glover, it's your turn!
The end of the book. They just
Yeah,
die.
they just die, they explode in D-Day, and that's it.
Axe morphs into a Harrier to fly away, but then a soldier lands on him and dies. He demorphs to get the body off of him.
This is already too detailed. I don't remember any of that.
thank
That's
you for making
one
me look good,
chapter.
Stur.
That's an entire chapter.
I think this is definitely a full chapter that I skipped.
There's definitely full chapters that you skip in this book when you summarize.
There's full chapters I skipped in this book when I was reading, I feel like.
Chapter 34 is Cassie. Visser 4 leads Nazi tanks to the D-Day beach so that the Nazis win, or German tanks. And the Animorphs gotta stop those tanks. So Cassie morphs a wolf and runs at the tanks and bites Visser 4 on the leg. And then Tobias and Horkbajor morph gets shot by a machine gun a bunch. Chapter 35. Rachel tells Axe about the Holocaust, and then Marco and Rachel head to the tanks too, and Axe. Cassie gets shot in the head, but she doesn't die. Tobias doesn't die either. And then Visser 4 asks the Animorphs how they've been following him and why they won't die, and they don't answer.
I'm glad you included that part.
Then Adolf Hitler shows up.
Of course he does. Why wouldn't he? He descends from the skies.
This book was so unhinged.
This book was so unhinged.
Continue. Wait, finish the summary first, please.
Axe comes up with the idea to throw grenades into the tank hatches to stop them, like in Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
and
that's what it said.
Yeah, and Rachel and Marco agree. So they swoop down as birds to grab the grenades, but then a mortar lands nearby.
Dude,
and
just like in Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain.
And the shockwave knocks them down.
My favorite part of the book was when Marco was like, oh, this is just like Metal Gear Solid 5.
No, Metal Gear Solid 1, when you fight the tank, you gotta throw a bunch of grenades in it.
Okay, continue.
Wait, had Metal Gear Solid 1 come out by this point?
You know, this is our most
know
unhinged
Metal
summary.
Gear
I think it's fitting.
Yeah.
Is this somehow worse than the summary where we took turns saying the freaking, like, with each chapter taking turns of who said it?
We had to
This
be
is
like-
somehow more unhinged than that.
I'm sorry about that one, guys. Didn't I tell you guys we had to be in character or something?
I don't know whose idea it was. I liked it,
It
though.
was. It
It
was
was
mine.
fun.
Tobias is still a Horkbajor and he puts his wrist blade to Hitler's throat. But in this reality, Hitler isn't Adolf Hitler, the leader. He's Adolf Hitler, the Jeep driver.
So Cassie says, no, stop.
Don't kill Hitler.
I mean, that's exactly true, but it's just really funny that they wrote that.
It's just...
And then someone shoots Tobias and he jerks and reflex and slices Hitler's throat and blood
Wait, that
sprays
happens?
everywhere.
Yes!
Oh my gosh.
I know, doesn't Cassie, like, convince him not to do it, and then he, like,
And then he
slips in a
just-
banana peel and kills him anyway.
So Hitler was inconsequential in this book. Chapter 39, Rachel. They stand up, fine from the mortar, because they're invincible. And then Rachel grabs a grenade and flies over the lead tank and drops it in, and she sees Tobias slash Hitler's throat. Chapter 40, the tank
I thought you were saying
explodes.
Tobias / Hitler's throat. Like, Tobias is Hitler in this universe.
No.
I thought you were saying like slash fiction, like Tobias and Hitler's throat. 1,000 words on AO3.
Should I finish your summary? There are 2 pages.
The tank explodes and its gun turret lands on Visser 4's balls and crushes him.
Is that what happened?
It was the lower half of his body.
It said it hit him. It landed on him below the waist.
Man, I realized I paid attention to so little of this book.
Yeah, no wonder you liked it.
Yeah, it was boring. Continue the summary.
Then all the Animorphs demorph, and Visser 4 is like, "Wow, you were humans the whole time, huh?" And then they contemplate whether the Germans are actually the bad guys in this timeline.
They contemplate whether Hitler was right all along.
No! You can't say that!
Then the Yerk Visser 4 climbs out of his host and starts to crawl away. And Marco picks him up and freaking throws him in the burning tank
I thought it
pile.
was Tobias that did that.
Very nonchalantly. Pretty sure it was
Wait,
Marco.
it was Marco.
Then the Animorphs take the time
Sneaks
matrix and try to figure out how they'll fix the timeline. Cassie talked to Visser 4's old controller who had his balls crushed, John Berryman, who was dying, and she asked him where his parents met, because she's gonna make it so that he didn't exist, to stop Visser 4 from taking over John Berryman's body and finding the time matrix. Then the Animorphs use the time matrix to go to Hippie Land, 1967 San Francisco, where John Berryman's parents met. And then they contemplate whether they should actually change anything, because maybe in this new reality the Holocaust didn't happen since Adolf Hitler wasn't the leader. And then Jake appears because them bringing the time matrix to Hippie Land distracted John Berryman's mom, who was a hippie girl, because hippies like shiny things.
And they teleport back to the Cassie's barn then, right? Like they're back in when Jake shows up, they're back in like the house.
Yeah, the end.
That's it. Let me tell you why I wanted to do the summary before talking about the cover. Because I read this book and I wasn't sure to give it a thumbs up or like a meh.
Yeah, I was hinging on a man.
Stu and I gave it a thumbs up. Be Natural, you gave it a meh. Bad,
You gave it a man, a bumblebee, half a bumblebee.
Yeah, because I think half a bumblebee is like not very good, right? I don't actually.
No, I think it's like bad. It's good.
If you take the time out of your day to actually like think about how much of a bumblebee it deserves, and that you're already giving it too much thought.
Listen, I was thinking about whether
I think about this book a lot. I thought about this book a lot before we read
I think
it.
you referenced the fact that they go to the Holocaust at some point in the previous
mentioned the fact
episode.
that they go to the World War II.
I feel like that might have been like the first episode even. I don't know.
I'm glad at least that the whole book wasn't dedicated to them being in World War II.
Let me tell you a story about the first time I read this book when I was a kid.
Sure.
Right? So as you know,
You read this as a kid? This isn't like an adult's book.
I read this as like the.
This wasn't like behind the counter, like in glass. You had to show your ID to get it.
I read this at like the age of like 11 or so, no older than 11, and. As you know, this is Megamorphs 3, which is in the series Animorphs, which has 64 books, 54 of which are mainline numbered books. But Megamorphs 3 is not the third book in the Animorphs series. It's actually like the 32nd book in the Animorphs
series. Is
series.
this the third Animorphs book you read? Is that...
No.
Okay.
Let me finish. And in order to know that Megamorphs 3 comes after book 29, you have to like go online and find a list, right? Which is kind of hard to find. But like I had a list pulled up, so I was pretty confident this. I just read book 29. Pretty confident this was the next one to read. So I opened it up, and the Animorphs are like, I don't trust blacks or Jews. And I'm like, what book did I miss? Clearly I'm supposed to read book 30 where they realize that Hitler was right. And then I read this book, and I felt really bad. Like, I actually put the book down and, like, triple-checked all the lists to make sure I was not missing any book. And then I was like, okay.
Who's Melissa?
Yeah, who's this Melissa woman? Tobias was dating Rachel. What is this?
But you don't remember Melissa?
I remember the name Melissa, but
she's Chapman's daughter.
I know, but in chapter 1, Tobias was like, oh, I love kissing Melissa and holding hands with Melissa.
Like also in the book where they realize Hitler was right, they also like break up Tobias and Rachel and bring Melissa in.
But let me just say...
So that's why I remember this book, because of that.
Yeah, you can't forget this book. Let me just say about the cover quick.
I don't remember much else of it.
Because I want to get
a few scenes. A few select scenes in this book are pretty memorable.
I want to get into chapter 1 like immediately. But first I want to say, I read this book. I was like, a lot of that was boring, and I skimmed past it. It was boring, and it kind of sucked. But it was because it was just a bunch of war battle scenes. I don't really like war battle scenes.
I was disappointed.
But there was a lot of good stuff that I liked in this book, and I was thinking about my rating, and I looked at this book cover, and I was like, I can't give a book with this cover of meh. Like, look at them.
You said it was bad.
Yeah, but look at that cover. It's great.
No, it's not.
I can see where most
we said that the cover was bad.
I didn't say the cover was bad. That was all you
said
guys.
It was average.
Look at this great 1999 fashion they have.
Yeah.
I love it. Rocco has like his hand on his knee for no reason.
I love a teenage character wearing a physical
watch.
watch. That's pretty cool.
Axe looks bad. His nose is ugly.
I think my only note that isn't just like summarizing what I read says this book is like a fan fiction where they kill everyone.
Dude.
Yes, this book was literally just self-insert fan fiction so that Capelgate could write. Capelgate just really wanted to write about these guys, like, killing all of her enemies, and for some reason she did it. It's so bizarre. I was not having a single moment of it.
I never thought about it that way.
What's the next Megamorphs book is going to be like my Animorphs X Bible crossover fanfiction.
In the time of Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh no, Mr. 3 went back in time and killed Jesus. What do we do without Christianity?
So, let's go through unless we have more to say about the cover.
No, we don't.
Let's go through the plot in order, I guess.
So, chapter 1 of this book.
Wait, by the way, hang on. So, prologue, Elfangor. Did we know the time matrix was in the construction site already, or was that news?
I don't remember.
That was that was in a previous book.
Was it? That the time matrix was there? I know that the cube was there, but the time matrix?
No, it said someone buried the time matrix under a place that ended up being where the construction site was.
In Elfangor's?
Establishing this. That was Elfangor's secret.
Oh, that was in the prologue?
Yeah.
Okay, I was mixing up prologue with previous book.
In Elfangor's,
I forgot the prologue existed.
In the Andalite Chronicles, like it just says, I think it just says he goes to the woods and digs them. Also, minor gripe, but this book says that Elfangor, using only tools that humans had, dug a hole for the time matrix to go in. Immediately after, then he turns into human. I'm sorry, I don't think Andalites can use shovels that well. You should have turned into a human before using the shovel.
Yeah.
Maybe he's using his shovel.
Okay.
Maybe he was turning around.
Maybe he stabbed
But if
the
he
hilt
stabbed
of the
it down
shovel
and,
with his
loosened
tail
it up a little
blade
bit, then it'd be
to
easier
pick it
to
up.
swoop out. Yeah.
Maybe he put a shovel attachment onto his tail blade.
That's not a... Okay.
Maybe he put a suction cup attachment onto his tail
Maybe he put a
blade.
vacuum cleaner on his tail blade and slucked up all the... Maybe he slucked up the dirt with his hooves. Maybe he ate it all.
Okay, it does say that...
Yum, yum,
In the
I'm so
Andalite
full
Chronicles, it does say that I landed here now in this construction site because I was looking for the time matrix. So it does say
Oh,
that.
okay.
I guess this...
Yeah, because
Yeah, okay,
That's
he
the
does say
secret from
that.
the
It's just kind of
Animorphs.
like not...
So he buried it in the woods, and the woods became the construction
Because I
site.
could not remember whether or not that was news.
I didn't either.
I didn't either.
Anyway. So the first few chapters of this book, a lot has been wondered on what the Animorphs would be like if it was written by J.K. Rowling instead of I think now we know.
Man, this
Okay.
book, like... It's like this book doesn't exist.
Dude, on the beginning of chapter 2, one of my notes was, okay, so this book is going to be epic.
Oh,
and that was
no!
whenever I highlighted the word slave girl.
That's so sad.
Why did that make you think it was going to be epic?
Isn't it
Because
obvious?
it was shocking, and I thought it would
This
be
book-
interesting to explore what would happen, the Animorphs, like, I don't know.
So the Animorphs are all slave owners in some like parallel...
But this
some
book seemed a
alternate
lot more
timeline.
interesting from the beginning
Cassie
than
is a
what it
slave
turned
owner.
out to be.
Let me just say, one of the slaves for some reason is named September 12. It would be so funny if it was September 11 instead.
My slave, September 11th, 2001.
This was about like 2 years before.
Oh no.
I didn't even think of that.
It was like, what? September 12?
They just, in this
Yeah,
universe, they
one-
would just
one away.
enslave every single person born on September 11th, 2001.
No!
They said that they enslaved people based on, like, IQ and, like, ability, like disability.
This alternate universe that Capplegate made is insane.
It's insane. And I like how it's not like the Animorphs.
Shocking.
It's not like the Animorphs are like the. I like that she has the balls and / ovaries / your gonad of choice to not make the Animorphs like, oh no, we gotta fight the Yeerks and the Nazis. No, the Animorphs are Nazis, and they're like, we gotta fight the Yeerks and the jungle primitives who are taking up valuable space from our white propriety. Like, it's so unhinged.
Yeah.
I admire the bravery.
I guess I
And to
do,
publish
but the
this.
execution was so awful that I was just cringing the whole time.
Of this parallel universe?
Yes.
Why? I liked it.
I had long suspected that
It
Cassie...
was too far.
It's like a fan fiction.
I had long suspected that Cassie might have slightly radical tendencies. A lot of blacks did. Blacks and a lot
Like
of
that
Jews.
line?
Although not in my...
Yeah,
a lot of
I just-
Jews, although not in my family. If you had any Jewish blood in you at all, you had to be extra careful so no one thought you were
It's
radical.
great. It's so
like...
it's like you child, you will not be allowed to think that this is like
My
a
eyes
mild
got huge
change.
when I read some of this stuff, man.
Yeah. Jake and Cassie aren't together in this universe because they Jake distrusts blacks too much. Like, that's kind of, like, interesting.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't realize make that connection.
And then, like, Jake doesn't like Cassie because she's too sentimental, even though she owns a slave. But she's still, like, sentimental towards, like, and he doesn't know this. Like, the Animorphs are so much less open with each other.
There was one line I thought that was just interesting that I only noticed on my second... I read, like, half the book, like, on 3 times speed in the audiobook quick before we did this, so I could refresh some of the stuff. One of the lines that says, like, oh, we had the ability to absorb the essence, or what Axe calls DNA
Yeah.
of animals. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because the in this universe, they're like 50 years behind in technology. They don't know what DNA is.
Yeah,
just
Capplegate
think it's
is
like
that was a
essence
good
magic.
line. I thought they were
Yeah.
just being stupid.
Capplegate is
Yeah.
like, screw you, Nazi scientists. You guys would have sucked at science if you won. We wouldn't even know what DNA is, you
nice.
idiots.
Although they do have Pong for some
There's-
reason.
wait,
No,
yeah, there's
Pong,
another
because
line
Pong
that I
was
wanted to
invented
point
like
out.
20 years ago, but at
Because
this
Pong
time.
was in like the 70s.
Yeah, it's not 50
The
years.
German science is worse. This is like an anti-JoJo reference.
Okay.
Anyway,
Dude, like, me writing me in 2023 making my alternate, like, if Nazis won universe, like, I just spat on all the minorities I saw and I rounded up the homeless people and shot them. Then I went to GameStop and bought the latest game, Mario Sunshine 2023. Like, that's kind of what this is when he's like, oh no, the latest game is Pong. Isn't there a part,
it's
like,
old, yeah. I
after-
didn't think it was unique. and
I think
surprising.
it was kind of fun. Isn't when Drode shows up, like, isn't Marco, like, not sure about the whole, like, don't make everyone Nazis thing until Jake says, but the latest video game is Pong.
No,
Like,
no, this was a really cool scene. You didn't read the beginning. You didn't like the
What do
beginning
you
of this
mean
book.
that was a really cool scene? No, it wasn't.
Well, no, the part with Marco specifically.
How?
Listen, Marco's just pretending to be dumb because he doesn't want Jake to die. That was the whole point of the scene.
No, what happened... wait, hang on. Okay, yeah, okay. So, Drode shows up. He's like, guys, you can fix this. Okay, but first of all, the Drode shows up, and then...
Drode is an 0 for 2 for me. I just like both of the Samson games.
Who's in the previous book, by the way?
Drode comes out as a Nazi. He's like, I love
Oh, he's like, this is my kind of place. Let me tell you. He says that. And he's like, yeah, you guys, you got the time matrix, and did this, and, Kryak doesn't want that, so Kryak and the Elements made a deal that you guys can stop it. One thing that's weird is, like, so the Drode shows up, and suddenly all the Animorphs are normal again, and instead of Melissa, Rachel's there instead.
Rachel's like, where was I?
And they're all like, what the heck was that universe? That was crazy. And then Rachel is like, why wasn't I there? And, like, how would she know that she wasn't, I guess she... Cause
Well... What
It
did they
seems
say
like-
that she was? She was like in
She was at, like,
she was in like a boarding, like a...
She was
like
at
a
St.
re-education
Olga's
camp.
School for Wayward Princesses.
So
Star
did
versus
she
the
know
Force
that
of
she
Evil
was there? Because she
reference.
seemed to be like, oh, where was I?
I took it as like
every.
everybody just kind of like has a memory of the scene that we just saw in their brain.
Okay, I'll take that, I guess.
I guess, basically.
Can I read the part that just made my eyes just
Yeah.
open so wide?
You haven't read it already?
I will tell you about this reality. Your country is an empire ruled by terror and torture. It has made war on the nations to the south. It slaughters people and it calls primitives. It enslaves anyone with IQ below 80, and as well as anyone born with what you call defects. All in all, it's my kind of place. I assure you it's all true. The Yeerks are within months of consolidating control. The lack of freedom among humans has made the conquest much easier. Your few books, your 2 radio stations, your single television channel are all censored. The technology is 50 years behind what should be. Poverty is widespread. Curable diseases run rampant, and some women are forced to breed to repopulate the dominant white race, while at the same time in the major cities, the poor and homeless are rounded up and shot.
Exactly. This is the Tobias barbecue part.
You could
It
not...
crosses the line twice.
That crosses the line way more than Tobias Barbecue. Women are forced to breed to repopulate the white... Imagine if that
I
was
have
in, like...
zero respect for this book at this point. I'm sorry, Be Natural.
I don't even know if this is a respect.
I don't
I'm just
care
like...
how many ovaries Capelgate has. That does not go in this book.
She has 7
I'm just like,
ovaries.
you could not put that in any kid's show. Like, imagine if that was in, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, women are forced to breed and poor people are alive. You can't just say that. Like, I
See, these are all opinions I've seen, like, people on Stormfront have. Like, I don't
what
know
does that mean?
Stormfront is like
Well,
the
it's
Nazi
true, but
forum. that
this
is-
goes back to the idea of, like, realistic evil and unrealistic, like, supervillain evil. And
I mean, he literally went back in time. I don't see why he can't make everything literally the worst possible.
he does, but the thing is, there's, like, cartoonish, like, funny evil where, like, Visser 3, not necessarily funny, but it's, like, so unrealistic that, you know, there's, like, this kind of level of, like, oh, I don't really have to take this seriously. Like, this is just, like, what kids... Like, you know how...
Kids shows do
peril
not-
in kids shows is not things that are actually perilous to people in real life. That's
I
how
think this is
Animorphs
pretty
is a lot of the time. But hearing things that people in Stormfront say is not something Animorphs has really done yet,
I think it's
and
pretty
does not
meta,
fit
though.
the tone of the series at all.
Well, no, this book absolutely doesn't fit the tone of the series, but, like, whatever.
That
There's,
doesn't
like,
make it good.
There's, like, 64 books. I appreciate this part of the book for what it is.
I didn't read a lot of books as a kid, but I'm just like...
Books are the same as TV shows in that comparison you're kind of making.
No, but like you can get away with way more in books than you can
Absolutely.
with songs or TV or like anything.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
couldn't say in like a PG. I don't know if even in like a PG-13 movie you could say like, oh, women are forced to breed and maybe you could. I guess no. I don't know. That's just like it's so extreme. It's wild.
I mean, okay, Batter, do you think, like, The Handmaid's Tale is bad?
No,
like,
because it's not freaking written for children.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like.
I'm
a
not
baby
saying we
book.
shouldn't write realistic peril in books. I'm saying this is literally for 12-year-olds.
Like people think this book Animorphs is
It
like a
made an
baby
impact on me.
series.
I think it's pretty cool.
It is. I don't
No,
know.
it's just too ridiculous.
I don't
It's
know
just
how
too
I
over
feel
the
about
top.
it being in the book, like morally, but it's just shocking to read. This in Animorphs, like that's when I in the Scream Chamber I just wrote like wide wide eyes emoticon. Like what the heck is the beginning of this book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just unhinged intro.
There's also this other weird part that I wanted to point out. I'm not really sure what she's going for here, but Excuse me. Wait, who's saying this?
Stuart, stop watching Glover! Pay attention!
Paying attention.
I was playing Pong. My dad bought one for us. It's so cool. Even my mom was into it, which in a way is sad because seriously, who wants to be doing stuff with their mom? Be nice to your mom, Tobias said. She'll probably end up being your prom date someday.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it doesn't. How? Explain.
Because if a boy doesn't have a date, he'll go to the prom with his mom. That's the thing that happens.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't know that was. I didn't know that
Never
actually
heard of that.
happened.
No, it
it's
wasn't.
just a
It wasn't an
common
insult
I've heard.
joke. It was like a nerd loser joke. It wasn't an incel test. I mean, it wasn't an incest joke.
Okay.
I've heard that joke
never-
before. I didn't know it was a thing that actually
Cut that
happened.
I
out.
mean, I don't know if it happens, but I know it's a trope.
Yeah,
I've
it's
never
true.
seen that trope in media. No.
Oh, so you thought this was like part of the?
Yeah, I did. I was like,
Women
oh,
are forced to breed
what
with
are
their
they
own
trying to say with
sons.
this? Yeah.
I did. I liked that part. I really thought it was interesting that Moko was the one talking trash on his mom because he like really loves his mom and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like I thought that was a cool.
It's
How much
irony.
consideration do you give this parallel
He's not
universe?
grateful because his mom didn't die in this universe.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Marco.
Well, he's also
Marco
probably
is not
horribly
the type.
sexist and racist. I don't think
Yeah.
it's just because she didn't die.
You're right. Actually, he probably was like, "Yeah, my mom, stupid woman." Like, yeah, Marco's the one who's like, "Ugh, jungle rats and slugs." Like, they're equally
Marco
bad.
really
Jungle
likes
rats is
it.
their like racial slur for like native Brazilians.
Yeah. Which is funny because Marco was like the only one who could talk to them when they went to the
That's true.
South America because he was Spanish.
Yeah, this kind of brings up like, okay, if he went back and like made everything in the history bad, like would like several of the Animorphs even have been born? Like, would a character who's like mixed race, like Marco, or like
Well, later
Hispanic
on, they kind
in
of,
origins, even have been allowed to be born? You know, 'Cause,
Later on, there was that whole thing with like they kind of speculated on did Krayak like protect our timeline so that we could still be around because they're like, wait, how did none of this affect us being like they don't remember when they asked that when they were talking about
No.
Yeah,
making sure
I
that
do.
John Barrowman's parents never met up.
Yeah.
So I think it's implied that like
no,
Krayak
yeah.
protected it, but there is kind of a cop out element.
yeah, it's interesting.
Also, it was only like essentially.
I mean, I can forgive that because like if realistically if you change anything in the past, then like literally no person in our current timeline will be born.
Yeah, that was one
But
complaint
like
I had.
I can forgive that because like otherwise you just wouldn't be able to tell any time travel stories really.
Yeah.
With
Exactly.
the same characters. Like I can definitely forgive that trope.
I think the one complaint I had about that trope is they're like, no, we can't kill any of these people in this battle. What if it messes up something? It's like,
Like,
dude, literally
guys-
anything you could do something. Like, this
guys-
is a war. They're probably gonna die anyway. What do you mean you can't kill
Just
any of
you
these people?
yeah, this is
Like,
literally a war. Like you standing in one spot is going to affect like hundreds of people dying in
Yeah.
a war. Like, come on.
Like that part
But,
was
like,
silly when they're like,
whatever.
no, we can't kill anyone because it might mess up the timeline. That's not true, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it was like fine. I realized it makes sense that you gave this book a downvote, Pat, if you didn't like this intro part, because like
This intro part was like the thing that was fine to me. Like that was the good part. That was the interesting part to
Well-
me, and then the rest of it was boring.
It was at least interesting, but the rest, I didn't only hate it because of the intro. I also hated it because of the rest of it too.
Yeah.
I didn't hate anything in this book at all. It was
No.
just like boring.
Oh, I was just not having this. This was honestly like Harkbajir Chronicles for me. I was just like did not care about anything.
That makes sense because I love Hook for Jericho. I did not love this book. As I said, I was very close to giving it a
Yeah, I almost gave it a man.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just so much just
It was
like
like a-
wild, surprising, and
it was
like
like a
unique
wary, like,
ideas for
kind of
Animorphs
thumbs
in
up.
it. Whereas like I can't.
Yeah, but they didn't do anything interesting with any of those ideas.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
true.
fun.
That's the issue.
Yeah,
Things
but
I
there was
remember
blood.
from this book. Things I remember from this book. The beginning, Jake having no head. These are like things I remember from before we read it just now.
That's from a kid.
Yeah. Cassie getting called the gamer word. Hitler. That's all I remember.
Another like just subtle like change I liked. Well, I guess okay, maybe it's not actually that innocent looking back, but just like part of what I realized like this place is really different is when Jake was like, oh yeah, one ungrateful alien put in his place, now I have to take over another one. Like, oh wow, he even like hates Axe.
Oh yeah, that was interesting. Because like, okay, what I liked about that, sorry to harp on this, this is the last thing I have to say about this opening part, but I think they genuinely good writing in this opening part, because a lot of the stuff he says is like, if this was your first Animorphs book that you picked up, like, you wouldn't realize that it's out of character. Like, when Jake says, like, about Axe, he's not from around here. What can you expect? And then, like, that's it. Like, That's like something that like other kids' books would just write about their alien characters, you know, as like, oh well, he's not from around here, what can you expect? But in this book, that's like specifically out of character for Jake, who would normally be like, but he's trying his, you know, like they have a whole paragraph about how Axe is like a very valuable friend and all that, and gives us valuable insight into the Andalites. But like here, it's just like, he's annoying because he's not like me.
Oh yeah,
that was also something like when you said something else earlier that was similar to that, where I don't remember what it was.
The mom thing.
No, it was something where it's like, this is something that like would be in another book about aliens, where they would just say like, oh yeah, we don't like it because it's weird and from out of town, and like, but it just sounds like a snarky thing that most kids' books would say about aliens, but like not this series, because this series is pretty like pro, you know, learning about other species and all that.
I really like the opening. I mean, after the prologue, like the first few chapters of this book, just for how Capelgate really like left you in the dark of what is going on,
which was very impactful to me as a child.
Before the Drought shows up and explains what's happening, us and the Animorphs have no idea what is going on. Like, wait, why they have slaves now? This is like a different unit. What is happening? Like, it is very confusing at first.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, was the United States in a war with Brazil in 1999?
Yeah, like,
I didn't think so,
thing.
but maybe I didn't pay attention to history class.
So yeah, I thought it was a very like. It's a very unique way for an Animorphs book to start in that kind of like, they don't explain. Oh yeah, like the chapter 1 of every book's the same. Like, oh yeah, the Yeerks were fighting the Yeerks, and that, but it's just parallel. I can't imagine like if this was someone's first Animorphs book. Don't.
This is your is your first Animorphs books. Why?
This is the worst Animorphs book in the whole series to me at first. I think.
Oh yeah.
They say skank a lot in this book again.
They do.
Skanky,
yep.
but
It's
not
weird.
in I don't think it's in reference to like sluttiness. They just say like skanky as if it means something else. I feel like.
Yeah, well, they mean
that
like
would tracks with the way it's
dirty.
been used earlier. Dirty.
Yeah, like skank. They mean it as like dirt, like
They
physically
say it like
dirty.
5 times. It's really weird. Like I thought I was gonna write it down the first time, and then he said it again.
Yeah, they said that the French people in the war were like,
Do you guys have any notes on like the French part? Because I don't have very.
Well, I'm
many
still
of
on
them.
like chapter 3. I mean, it's going
Well,
through
what
my
do you
notes.
have?
Mustard, how much do you like this book that you
Yeah.
have so much to say about it?
Most of what I had to say was just what I already said.
By the time it gets to the war stuff, I have very little to say about the majority of the book.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
I want to talk about the Drought showing up, I guess, a bit.
Do you like him as much in this book as he did before? He didn't seem as wacky.
He was too like try hard in this book. I feel like he was
I
like,
felt like he was very try hard in the other book.
my kind of world, like you know.
Yeah.
In the
He was cartoonishly
Do you guys have a specific
evil.
voice that you imagine for him?
No.
Because I just realized I do.
The other book, I thought it was cool how
Is it
he was
based
like.
on a character?
I'm trying to. It has to be a character that I've heard, but I don't know who it would be. It's like, hey, it's my kind of world, but it's like not Yoda.
It kind of
No,
sounds
but-
like Gonzo.
By the way, I forget the eyeball that Jake saw when he died in the
That's
Yeerk.
Krayak.
Is that Krayak? Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
It is?
Yeah.
See, I didn't pay attention much to the Triad book.
Is that the one you fell asleep during?
No.
No,
That was like several books.
there's only 2 books.
I was on different pills at that point. That's why I was falling asleep. It wasn't just me being sleepy.
No. So, the Drought tells them that like the Krayak and the Elmis, the good and bad like god-strong aliens, fourth dimensional.
By the way, I don't
beings.
know how much I like them just being like there's these big giant aliens and they are good and bad.
I hated that. I really hate the direction they went with the big eyeball, just making him an evil Elmis, basically. The whole Krayak thing is pretty dumb.
Like,
if you
before
ask
they
me.
introduced the Ellimist, before they introduced the Krayak, they were like, we don't know what the Ellimist's deal is. He's weird. He might be bad, he might be good, we can't trust him. And then they introduced Krayak, and they're like,
All
oh,
Krayak's
he's
plans
good.
are really dumb anyway.
Now Ellimist is blue, and Krayak is
Barry,
red.
you're just a third-dimensional being. You can't understand the complexity of fourth-dimensional Krayak's genius plans.
I think he's more than fourth dimensional.
Probably.
So his thing is, he wants to kill Jake because Jake, promised him his life or something.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this was something I was thinking about. So they're like, okay, one of you Animorphs has to die for this. And I remember in the previous book, Krayak was like, hey, wait, no, the Drought, it was the Drought who said this.
Oh, I forgot about
The
that.
Drought, he was like, hey, Rachel, if you kill your cousin Jake, Krayak
yeah.
will, give you salvation.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I
he
forgot,
really
that's
wants
right.
Jake dead, it seems like.
I totally forgot about that.
And I was like, man, the Animorphs can just kill two birds with one stone because they have to kill one of the Animorphs for this time travel thing, as part of this deal to stop the Nazi from being Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just kill Jake, and then also Rachel gets to be saved, I guess.
Maybe
that
they should
means.
just kill Jake. This is the sequel to maybe they
This
should
is
just kill Rachel.
this is Jake finally dies again for real this time.
Lol. JK. Wait, what was Jake finally dies? When was that?
That was book 11.
Book
where-
11.
A
Yeah,
very
book
similar
11.
book where Jake
Jake does
dies
a
at the
square
end and then
dance.
suddenly doesn't die because of time travel nonsense.
You're right.
I realized my second time reading this book, I was like, this is very similar to book 11. Where this entire book is in a different
nothing
place.
in this
That's
And they don't
some-
know why they're
happens,
doing it,
so
and they don't know
they-
what's happening or what, like, why. They just don't know.
So Capelgate gets to write more edgy stuff because it doesn't end up mattering at the end.
Yeah.
How do you remember what book was the Jungle Book?
I edit these podcasts.
Okay.
One thing, the majority of this book didn't seem like the narrator switching really was that important.
No!
Although they did like different members of the Animorphs like dying at certain points, but like that really didn't need to be like
When
narrated by
Jake
them.
died and they just all reacted to Jake dying
Yeah.
in, like, the exact same way, I was like...
Again, not as bad as the first Megamorphs book in that regard. And none of the
Yeah, I guess in the first Megamorphs books, they just did that for literally every single event that happened. So, I mean, like, pretty low bar to clear, but...
I don't
good job,
think
guess.
any of the narration seemed like unique to that person.
No.
Like as I was reading, I couldn't tell who was narrating just from what they were saying.
I had to scroll up several times to the beginning of
Yeah.
the chapter, and be like, who's talking?
But
See, I was taking notes on who wrote what.
yeah, I was
chapters,
wrote in my
so-
notes who was what. I think I sort of.
I feel like overall the series is kind of like, I feel like in the first 5 or maybe 10 books, Capelgate put a lot of effort into making the characters' voices unique, but I feel like ever since then, it's just kind of like they don't care anymore about each narrator being a unique narrator.
I'm recording for an hour already.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest complaints about this book was that literally everyone sounded exactly the same.
There was
It was so tiring.
There was one character moment that I liked a lot, which was between Cassie and Marco in chapter 5, where Marco was like, "Oh, I don't know if we should agree with this Kryak thing. I say we just go home and watch TV." And then they're like, "Oh, there's only one channel in this universe, Marco."
Didn't you say this is a cool scene for some
Yes.
reason?
So and
Now,
then
homeless people being rounded up in the street and shot I could take, but one channel on TV?
and then Marco's like, "Oh, we got one channel. We got to do this then." So they unanimously vote. Marco turned away from Jake. The grin disappeared. He looked like he wanted to cry. Our eyes met again, and not for the first time I realized how smart Marco was underneath all the jokes. He knew we were going to do it. He knew his best friend's life might be the price we paid. He also knew we couldn't go into this hopeless battle thinking about nothing but a single terrible fact. I leaned close to Marco so only he could hear. Took his hand in mine. Kryak is not going to have it. Marco nodded and squeezed my hand. You got that right. So Cassie is like smart enough in terms of people's feelings to realize like what Marco was feeling, like this plan and stuff. And I thought it was a cool moment between them.
It was cool.
Marco didn't want them to be like
Yeah.
just dreading this, so he wanted to make a joke instead. And it was a cool like Marco, Jake, Cassie emotional smart moment.
But did any of you guys think that Capelgate was going to kill off an Animorph?
No.
Yeah.
Especially in a Megamorphs book?
No, I did not think they were going to be. I knew everyone was going to be alive by the end.
I thought maybe
I was fine
they
though
killed
because I
Jake.
wasn't exactly sure how they'd bring Jake
Yeah, I
back,
didn't-
so I was still kind of...
I was not like upset by anything in this book. I did not think any of it, for me personally, seemed too convenient or annoying or like being too dumb
A
in
lot
the
of
scene.
stuff seemed very convenient and annoying to me.
Yeah.
Like, let me just say,
Like how they're literally invincible.
yeah, that was kind of weird, but it's fine.
This
I
is
didn't
just
mind.
like
It was Kryak.
They had the second, like, after Jake died, the, like, Mario star music was playing throughout the rest of the book.
I'll get to the exact moments later because I don't remember what they were. But there were a few times in this book. Okay, that's in the background of me talking, I guess. Okay, oh, wait, it's in the whole book. Yeah. Okay. So you keep bringing up the rest of the episode. Wait, no, we didn't get to that part yet. Stop it.
Stop it! That's not lore accurate, Batter.
Sorry.
There were a few moments in this book where I had a question, like, wait, why does that work? Or wait, why didn't they realize this? And then, like, literally, like, in the next paragraph, like, a character would say it or something. So, like, I think, at least for my personal expectations and thinking in this book, Capelgate was, like, on this exact same page as me, and that was very satisfying to read. Well, like, I think of something like book 15, where I'm like, why are they doing this? They're stupid. And then, like, 40 pages later, like, wait a minute, we're stupid. I hate that stuff, you know? When this book, I felt like the Animorphs were on the same page as me for most of the book, and that was satisfying to read that kind of stuff.
I was going into the book to see if, like, maybe Dro just said, like, I just need one life. And so, like, it's John Barryman's life that they sacrifice, not Jake's. But then he does specifically say, one of you, in exchange for one life, the life of one of you. One of you must die. So, like, okay. Yeah, like, Capelgate didn't even, like, write a little out
Jake
there.
has to die, but he doesn't have to stay dead.
When the Droid first explained, like, his, how it was gonna work, I thought maybe how the book was gonna work is that the Animorphs, like, stay where they are on Earth, and Visor 4 just keep going back in time and, like, changing stuff to alter history, but they still remain there in their own minds and stuff. And, like, oh no, this Holocaust 2 happens or whatever.
What?
What? The universe at the beginning of the book just keeps getting worse and worse, and they have to, like, figure stuff out.
How are they going to do anything if they're not actually going back in time, though?
They find the time matrix. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of thought they would do something more clever than just have them teleport wherever the time matrix was.
Yeah.
That felt kind of stupid as a mechanic.
It's very much not very reflective. It's just like, oh, this is a setting that I want to write about.
Exactly. And
it has all the deep meaning of my Team Rocket Jesse Animorphs crossover fan fiction.
Right.
Oh, this is a situation I want to write about.
Exactly.
I don't have any notes for the French part. I've never heard of this battle.
The Battle of Agincourt?
I've heard the name Agincourt, but I don't know. I thought it was a chorus.
To be fair, the Animorphs had never heard of it either, and they talk about that quite a bit.
Right.
So.
And it also ends up not even mattering to the part, to the thing that Visor 4 wanted to accomplish.
I guess this is just Capelgate transparently being a history nerd.
Yeah.
So
because literally the justification in the book is that the controller, the human host, was a Shakespeare player, and he would just repeat his lines over and over again in his head to annoy the Yeerk.
I like that.
It was a fun design.
I like John Barryman, the character. He ended up being cool.
He was a cool guy.
I like the hippies.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Stur's favorite character.
I love the hippies.
Yeah, I was expecting him to be Stur's favorite character. He was definitely my favorite character in this book by far. Why does this book say that John Barryman / Visor 4 has a 21st century body?
What? That makes sense.
Wasn't this book written in the 20th century?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Wait,
was it written in like 2000?
May 1999 is when it was published, which means it must have been written before.
Well, it must be like those magazines where they always like publish the month as like the month that's in 3 months from now.
Yeah, or like how they always say that.
Well, okay,
she didn't want it to be dated.
But if you're annoying on the 21st century, it doesn't even start until 2001.
Well, yeah, but she didn't want the book to be outdated in 2 years already.
I guess so. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's one part where they're like, oh, 20th century, I mean 21st century.
Yeah, someone was like, no, it's the 21st century.
Oh, yeah, they make a mistake.
They corrected it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, that's the weird part.
Yeah.
Like, why did she correct herself? Like, did this book take place in, like, January 2001? When people would make this mistake?
Right before September 11.
Man, I'm never gonna live through more than one century, most likely.
Yeah, I remember I was like, one time I asked my parents, like, guys, what was the new year in 2000 like? And like, oh, whatever. It was just...
We stayed in a hotel.
When I was like, I thought it would have been so cool to live through like that. That's which one I was like.
Oh, another thing about this chapter, they also mentioned the word Peeless again.
Oh, yeah, because I can't say...
I am as peeless as you, Tobias.
Wait, what do they say in this book?
The guy I thought was probably the English king was hanging out with some of his boys, all laughing very loudly, the way people do when they're scared peeless but want to look cool.
Scared peeless.
Maybe scared pooless was just too goofy.
That's pretty goofy.
So, guys, so are we supposed to assume that Kayak, like, undid all the, like, this is before, the Yeerk did everything that caused them to be Nazis in the future?
Yes. Well,
So,
yeah,
like,
because why else would he be doing it?
Yeah, it was like... I guess so, yeah. I was like, confused
They
about
went
that
back
for a while.
in time.
Yeah. Oh, that's what he meant by that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we have to make sure that he doesn't mess with whatever's supposed to happen. I was like, wait, why don't you guys just like find the time matrix and use it yourselves?
Because
So I guess
he
they-
has it.
Well, if you're going back to 1415 anyway, then it's... You're not double going back in time. That's just what happened in 1415.
No, but it's not though, because he already, in the universe that they were in, he already did that in 1415, but now he didn't do it in 14.
Well, no, there's only... No,
Yes, he already did it in 1415.
Batter's
so
right.
that
If you
when
go
they
back to 1415,
he's going to be there.
Yeah, if you go back to 1415 in this universe, then he's there doing that, because that's what happened. That's why 1415 turned out the way it did in this universe.
He's following the time matrix as it's used in real time relative to him, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, and he's like, oh, what are you?
It's okay.
guess, yeah.
It's okay. You get it. It's okay.
So he's trying to kill the king for whatever reason.
I guess Buster kind of has a point because they were like back to their normal selves when they were doing all this. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Well, yeah, that's
really,
what the whole. That's where they said
all.
like your quantum elements are tuned.
Yeah,
Or some
these
nonsense
tuned.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not confused.
Did you guys know that kings wear crowns over their knight helmets?
Nope.
Because that
What,
they
really?
said that in
I
this
didn't
book,
hear
and I
that.
thought that
That
seems
sounds
really
really
silly.
stupid.
That seems
Yeah.
like it would look silly, but look it up. It's true, and it does look silly.
So I have zero notes about the actual like fighting parts in this.
Yeah, I don't care. Can we all just agree to skip over that?
Yeah, so I'll go to my next note, I guess, which is in chapter 9, I think. They're like, how do we find this this Uric, this John Goodman guy? And they realize, dude, everyone in this place is really stinky and like covered in crap. So
Did
we
we
have
already mention this?
to find the guy who's not. He's a 21st century body. And I heard
I
that.
said this in my summary because it was a good summary. Shut up.
No, listen, I heard that, and I was like, this reminds me a lot of at the beginning of Monty Python, the Holy Grail. They're like, oh, how do we find the king? And they're like, oh, he's the only guy who doesn't have crap all over him. And then, like, the next paragraph, like, Capelgate references Monty Python. It's just like, oh, it's just a flesh wound or something, I
Yeah.
assume.
I was thinking
No,
of looking
okay.
up that scene to see if it was actually the like if all of that quote was from the movie, but
No,
then
it's
I
not.
was like, I don't care enough
It's not,
about
no.
this book.
So I was like, yeah, Capelgate was definitely thinking about Monty Python, and then was like, oh, I know, I'll make a funny reference right after I did the thing that's inspired by it.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty certain that,
That does
find
look
the...
really stupid.
I'm like fairly certain that find the one guy who's not covered in dirt is directly inspired by that scene in Monty Python.
Okay. Except the king is covered in dirt, so it's like now it's like, well, you got to actually be like a modern guy. Close the door.
Yeah, like she I think it was a fun little, the guy who's from the 21st century is going to smell like poop.
Batter said there was like something like this book was just convenient at times. One of the things was convenient was like how the villagers reacted to any given satanic stuff that they saw from the Animorphs. Like they're in the middle of a freaking battle, and Tobias Hork-Bajir walks up, and then everyone just runs away. But then later, like Axe is in a village,
At
like
a different
banging.
time, right?
Well, like 2 minutes, like an hour later or
Oh.
something, Axe is in a village, like banging on a door, and like the villagers all run. The villagers who aren't even armed, like they don't even have knife, they're just villagers. They run up to him with their pitchforks because he's a demon. Well, like, which is it? Are they like really? And this wasn't like some individuals in each crowd reacted differently. It was like everyone in the battle ran away from satanic Hork-Bajir Tobias, but everyone in the village ran up with pitchforks at satanic Andalite Axe.
Well, I think it's like, you see one person running, you're like, I guess I better start running. You see one person with a pitchfork, pitchfork time,
Mob mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I didn't pay attention enough to really notice those two scenes. As I said, I mean, I was reading it, but I could not care less about most of the scenes in this book.
I think, personally, I was more engaged with this book than with most books that I've read recently.
I mean, I thought it was I really liked, and why I guess
I liked this book as a kid because I liked just being in all these like different environments.
Yeah.
They did a pretty good job making you feel like these places sucked and were horrible and the past sucks. Stop it with your nostalgia. But I mean, like it didn't like as an adult, I kind of need more like
That's true.
more meaning in the book.
It was a pretty good
than just that.
baseline compared to like how any other book would have treated this, but that's not good enough for me at this point.
I like the setup of this book. I think it was a good idea for I mean, I don't agree with all of her decisions, but I think it was a cool idea for Capelgate to go, okay, I want them to go to a bunch of different places, and I think it was an interesting setup to read. I wish there was less fighting in it, but...
Yeah, the only things that like affect historical events are battles, don't you know?
I mean,
they did go to
wars.
one college campus,
yeah.
but I wish there was...
Well,
like,
yeah, to
three-
stop Einstein from winning the war.
I wish there was like 3 less battles. Wars that they went
3
to.
less battles. And then Axe is like mad at them because there's too many wars in human history. And it's like, well, Axe, it's kind of like a biased sample here.
He was like,
Yeah.
I thought I understood humans, but I clearly know nothing about them.
Also, that part was
Andalites
annoying.
never kill each other.
I mean, like, I guess Axe doesn't know about the whole part where the Andalites genocided the Hork-Bajir with a virus. I guess the Axe doesn't know that whole thing, maybe, I guess, but, like, it's just kind of just annoying to read this then, because we, the readers, do know that.
He was talking about the Holocaust when he said that, right?
Well, he was talking
No.
about generally all the wars he'd seen, and then he learned about the Holocaust, and he's like, that's the final straw.
the scene where Rachel explains to Axe what the Holocaust was.
I didn't hate any part of this book.
What was wrong with that?
I don't think this series needed Rachel explaining to Axe what the Holocaust
It was the 90s.
This is like a parody book.
It is like a parody, yeah.
Wait,
It's a good
okay,
way of
can
explaining.
you explain like what the issue was?
It was cringe. That was the issue.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
I
I
like.
don't know how to explain. It was my visceral reaction to what happened. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain this in a logic-filled, facts, graph, statistics type way to make
Facts and
them
logic.
agree with me. It's just like
Okay.
that was my emotional reaction.
Speaking of that, my emotional reaction when Axe said, "Is the human with the gold circle on his head important?" I liked that part. That was a funny little Axe moment.
I felt like Axe's like knowledge of what's happening around him too felt like kind of convenient and inconsistent.
Yeah,
He's
but
always
isn't he like Mr. Encyclopedia? Hadn't he read like a whole encyclopedia of human stuff? There was like a book where he knew more about human stuff than the other Animorphs, but like specific human stuff.
Yeah,
It was,
like
really-
Elvis references.
Yeah, like that.
Like the invention of the cream separator.
Yeah, like that. I don't know, maybe, I guess it makes sense that he didn't happen to read anything about anything that happened in this book in that encyclopedia. I don't know.
Oh, we
Maybe
don't. Sorry.
Maybe they could have snuck something in.
Maybe like
If they
the
wanted to be
what's his
cooler.
name could have like stopped the invention of the printing press or something.
I feel like the printing press would just get invented later then. Like, there's certain things that are probably going to be inevitable.
Are we about ready to
Well,
move
yeah,
on?
all technology happened later than it was supposed to.
Yeah, they made a
That
game
was just
called
a big-
Pong.
They were gonna make
That's
Pong
true.
no matter what. Yeah, it just might have been a bit later.
It was original, and it was going to be called Pong no matter what.
Yeah.
And Marco was going to be named Marco no matter whatever.
Do you guys know that in like Australia or something, like Pong means like poop or something?
Australia has stupid
No.
words for everything.
All I
so
know,
that's surprising.
I don't know the exact details, but all I know is I had this like joke book that like was on a CD, and I think they were Australian. They had some kind of accent, and there were like 3 different jokes, like, "Oh, what's the smelliest king? King Pong." There's like a CD with a whole joke, and there were like 3 different jokes where like Pong was like like a bad thing, and I was like, "What? I don't know what this." I don't know if I ever looked it up, but I was like, okay, I guess that's what that means in some places.
Dude, when we do our joke for this episode, you should edit it to be like a Nazi joke that we would be telling.
Yeah,
if this
in
was
the UK,
other universe.
Australia, and New Zealand, Pong means to stink or to smell bad.
Wow, I can't.
Yep,
Even,
that's going in my Crash Bandicoot fanfiction.
I've never heard that in anything except that joke book though. Like I've been watching Taskmaster, they never say Pong on there. They said
Okay,
trunk
but-
to mean fart at one point.
They're not gonna make every reference to everything that's different.
I know, but I've like
American.
binge watched Taskmaster. I thought it would be like brought up like once if it was like a common phrase.
Did they mention that a torch is the same thing as a flashlight?
Yeah, probably. They probably said the word torch, but I've never heard the word Pong. I don't know. They've had stinky things
Well,
on the
it
show.
just seems like a more immature. Okay.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the. Are we ready to move on to George, or do you have anyone else about the night stuff?
I
'Cause I
am.
sure don't.
Let's see if I
I will
Let's go,
gladly talk
George.
about it more though. Before George, they're like, oh no, Visit 4 is gonna escape with the time matrix, and I was like, what? Why is that a big deal? Wasn't that the whole plan? Is that you're gonna like follow him around? Like you stopped him from killing the king. Why can't he escape now?
Well, okay, at
Did
this
they kill
point-
the king? I don't
Mustard,
know.
at
It was
this
weird.
No,
point-
they actually made preserved history in that instance.
Yeah, so why are they freaking out about him escaping? I guess they wanted to get
Mustard.
the time machine, but like
Mustard.
Because he was gonna mess up a whole bunch more things. What are you talking
I mean,
about?
at this
you think
point, they don't-
everything changed just because of this one battle of Agincourt?
Mustard
listen,
at this
there's like
point,
80 more pages in the book. Of course, it's gonna.
Mustard at this point, they don't know
So
that
why
they're
are
gonna
you
like make
confused?
John Berryman never exist. They just think they're gonna have to kill him, and then like all the changes that he already did, they're just gonna have to live with. So every single change that he does is like something more unpredictable. So like they just want to kill him as soon as possible. They didn't know
It didn't
that they
seem
were.
like they were
They
trying
didn't know
to
that
kill
there was
him.
80 pages left in the book.
They didn't know that they were gonna be able to undo everything.
They were definitely trying to kill him.
They didn't do a good job then. Well,
No, they
because
didn't.
of
He
the
kept like
Animorphs.
escaping because of like really wacky like Looney Tunes-esque like hijinks.
Well, I literally have 0 notes about the George Washington thing, except George National Daddy is something Marco says, and that's it.
Marco steals George Washington's boots. Lol.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Okay.
I'm ready to move on to the private pod, but I'll gladly talk about
Did
other
you
stuff
guys
as I
know
think
who
of
the
anything.
Hessians are before
Nope.
this
Yes.
book?
No idea.
Because I
didn't-
watched Liberty's Kids as a kid.
What's that?
It's a TV show about the American Revolution.
Wow.
Animated.
Is it like a cartoon or something?
Yes, it's a cartoon.
Yeah, I've never heard of the Hessians. They just started talking about them like everyone knew, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I learned about that in history class." Like, I'm pretty sure I did not learn about the Hessians in history class.
I remember them being like, I don't remember
Their
any
knowledge of
place
the
called
The
Hesha.
Hessians seemed very realistic to me.
Oh, I liked the part where Marco was like, listen, I'm not like some big flag waver, but seeing George Washington was pretty cool. And I think I agree with that.
I feel
I think
that
I'd be
way.
excited to see George Washington,
Yeah.
even if I don't.
Even
I
if he
mean-
didn't look exactly like he does on the dollar bill.
George Washington? This is George. Like, if I saw George Washington in real life, like,
Yeah.
dude, that'd be hype.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like how they say that like the boat or whatever with the famous painting, like it was so much like worse than that.
It's like a crappy old boat.
Yeah, and there was like sleet all over the place. It was kind
That's
of
true. Yeah, I've heard that. Like, I mean,
I don't know
everyone
how
knows that
accurate
that
it is.
painting is inaccurate, and it's more just like an exercise in nationalism than.
Yeah. I've never like looked. I didn't like fact check anything in this book except for the king helmet thing. I don't think, but I don't even know what Trafalgar is, which is kind of embarrassing. I mean, I know there's
I
a
remember
thing
hearing
called
about in that in APU's history.
there's a thing called Trafalgar Square, but I don't know what that has to do with a boat fight.
I'm learning that my entire experience with this book is being like hyper fixated on certain parts of it, knowing absolutely nothing about the rest.
I don't have anything
I like
else to
the
say about
push.
George Washington.
No, yeah.
We already
Doesn't
talked
really
about
do
how
much, they
kind
just
of metal
seem to
Jake's
fall
death
apart.
is, except not really because like we know he's not going to die.
I didn't.
I thought it was kind of.
Did
surprising.
you guys think? Did you think Jake was going to be gone for the rest of the
Okay,
series?
no. What
I thought he might.
I didn't think he was.
That
okay,
would be cool. But
here's the thing. I did not think any of them were gonna die in the past. I thought like they would do what they're gonna do, and then
that's what it
They're
was.
like, okay,
that's what
Jake,
they
you're
There'd
were
gonna
be
die
saying.
like
now.
some BS that at the end that takes up like half a page because Capelgate was running out of time. Yeah.
well, like Jake getting
Not
shot in the
expected.
foot with a bullet, like that was pretty cool.
That was unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like, yeah. There's always the thing about I know what's going to happen, so I'm like, whatever.
A lot more soldiers died, like a bigger percentage of soldiers died than the Animorphs died in these battles.
Well, yeah,
What's your point?
of course.
Because they
Well,
almost were
only one of them
invincible
were allowed
after
to
Jake
die,
died.
yeah.
Well, no, but before they knew they were invincible, like they just didn't get shot
Yeah.
because they're the Animorphs.
Well, the
They have plot armor.
Well, there was one other thing I did fact check on this book. That was in the boat part. Visor 4, Marco's a gorilla chasing Visor 4, and Visor 4 gets away from the gorilla by climbing. And it says, gorillas are not fast tree climbers, so Marco shakes his fist at him.
so Marco does not even try.
Marco
And he
doesn't
just
even
waits
try.
for Rachel to turn into a chimp
Like,
so
okay,
that she can chase.
Well, what?
Visor 4
Like, okay,
instead.
yeah, they're not, maybe they're not fast. Like, I looked this up, and like,
Wait,
every
is this on a
source...
ship?
Every source I found was like, oh yeah, gorillas are super good at climbing. So like, okay, maybe they're not fast, I guess, like compared to monkeys, but compared to humans, I'm sure
Yeah,
they're faster than humans,
I thought so too.
and,
Right?
or at least like not so. They made it sound like he can't climb at all.
yeah, exactly.
Like at least worth trying. Come on.
His back is too slopey.
Yeah.
Also, and I've played Donkey Kong Country too. Okay.
You climb ropes all the time.
Yeah. I guess Donkey Kong Country 2 doesn't have any gorillas in it, but okay, like Donkey Kong can climb a rigging, okay?
Wait, what is Donkey Kong if he's not a gorilla?
Well, Donkey
Yeah.
Kong Country 2 doesn't have Donkey Kong in it. It just has Diddy Kong and Dixie.
Well, you played
Yeah.
Donkey Kong 1.
Out of all the Donkey
played
Kong
both of
games,
them.
you only play Donkey Kong in like one of them.
Yeah, 3 of them.
I like
Well, yeah.
I like the part where Cassie was a dolphin to get away from the scariness of war. She morphed into a happy dolphin to be happy and like fish.
She morphed into a dolphin to chase George Washington's boat and protect him.
Okay,
She
but
didn't
She got
morph
sad
out
and-
as a dolphin. She just decided to stay as a dolphin because she was in the water already and she wasn't sure how she was going to get on the boats anyway.
yes, that's true. I forgot about that. But I still liked that she was a happy dolphin swimming around with fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cassie just took a time out during this one.
But that's fine.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would if I was freaking in a war and I was a dolphin.
Oh, yeah,
I would
I
swim
don't mind
around. Yeah, it was I liked that. That was a. You know, I like hearing about them being happy as dolphins personally.
Beneath my own wailing, lost human mind was another,
Yeah.
the dolphin. The dolphin knew only that the sea was full of fish.
See, when she said that,
was good.
I thought it meant like there was another mind in me, the dolphin, which is deep in me. I got to morph into it.
No, okay.
So she did.
Holy crap, Mustard. You read this book twice. You were so into this book, you don't even know what's happening.
If I read twice, I audiobook listened to it on 3 times speed, like the 2/3 of it
Yeah.
the second time.
There's a Looney Tunes explosion with the trail of gunpowder.
Wait, hang on. I don't even get to the freaking Pirate Land yet. There was a blah blah blah. There's a 4. My next note to remember to say dentist. I guess that's when I realized. Oh yeah, I gotta bring up a dentist.
Why would you
thing.
put that in the middle of the book?
That's when I thought about it.
Well, in my middle of the book, I have called Grandma and asked her to do her Woody Woodpecker laugh.
I don't know which one of those are gonna be the beginning. or
Wait,
end of the
guys, Jake
episode,
just
but
died. Okay, guys, I gotta call my grandma. and tell her to do the Woody Woodpecker laugh.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so like Visit 4 is like stuck on a pirate ship, and they're like, haha, there's no way you can run. You either gotta go to the Time Matrix or try to die outrunning me. I don't know. Rachel's there. The pirates
What?
get really horny, and
What are
they
you
think she's a
saying?
stowaway.
Oh, there is actually a moment I really like in this. He was right, we were trapped. This is Marco talking. I tried to push at a coil of rope. My fingers were trembling. Sorry, I said. Sorry for what? Ax asks. I leaned against the wall of rope and threw up.
Yeah.
Like, Marco apologized beforehand for throwing up.
So,
Because he's so traumatized about the whole thing with Jake.
And he's on a pirate ship.
And he's on a ship. It's not a freaking pirate ship!
Listen, galleons. That's
What?
what I call a pirate ship.
I can't. I was
I
so.
don't think this book uses the word galleons.
It doesn't say pirate.
I was like
But
bracing
it describes
myself.
like a pirate ship-esque ship.
Yeah, there's like a mast. There's like a sail.
I was like,
Is there
I was-
any balls?
There's only two pirate ships
There's
facing-
cannonballs, there's
Cannonballs.
ropes that you climb.
There's like horny old stinky men.
If you can compare the
The horny
ship
person
to
was
Donkey Kong
specifically said
Country,
to
then it's
be-
a
No,
pirate
no.
ship to me.
There was one horny like young guy who was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what a beauty of a
they
stowaway."
specifically mentioned that person who said that was like no older than 13 or something.
No,
like
but then it says the men went back to their guns with frequent looks over their shoulders. I ignored them, implying they're like all the men who are like doing guns. I keep peeking back.
Well,
at
maybe
them.
because like a very clean, like blonde white girl showed up out of nowhere. on
Clean,
this ship.
blonde, white, and half naked.
No, I'm
they're
just
horny.
no. They're just looking over their shoulders to make sure she doesn't try anything crazy because they don't know where she came from. That's
Okay,
not.
be natural.
I was looking for a face
I'm
with fewer
sorry.
missing teeth and no scars.
I'm sorry. Aren't I usually the one implying
Yeah,
horrible
you are.
stuff?
I don't know why you're arguing
All
with
right,
this
man,
right
you've
now.
all seen a female before this. The Frenchman is over there.
Okay.
Also, because right after this, they just ignore her. I mean, like, in terms of what they actually do, they just leave her to stand there. The one guy who's in charge is like, "Oh, you horny child, go tell the captain that we have a stowaway. The rest of you, let's just do this battle now. Let's not like ask this girl who she is or what she wants or like
Yeah, they totally ignored her
lock her
after
up or
that.
anything. They just ignored her. It's kind of a silly and rather convenient moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then she dies.
Oh yeah, she gets shot in half. That's
I
pretty
thought this
cool.
part was really cool.
She just had her arm, chimpanzee self, her arm and head. I think it's pretty cool that they like Jake is the one to die as a human and he's the one that stays dead. But they like all the rest of them when they get like die, they die as animals, I think, and then they like come back. Anyway, she's like he gets like a cannon like goes into her, and then like it's just her head and her arm like dangling from the rope where she was holding the rope,
Can I
and then the
read
rest of
this
her body
passage?
like falls away.
I thought it was just really cool. I climbed up the mast hand over hand. 3 seconds and I would falling. I was falling straight down, face up, so I could see half a chimpanzee still clinging to the mast. Falling, spinning now.
Oh.
The realization slow in seeping into my dying brain. I'd been blown in half. Darkening eyes saw Visifor crowing, laughing, and then the chapter ends.
Wait, how is she blown in half such that her head is falling, but still has half a
Because
chimpanzee?
one of her arms is still holding the thing.
Oh, I guess her legs are holding the.
Maybe her legs are holding it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Whatever, it's cool.
That was
Have
a
you guys
cool-
seen the movie Aliens?
No.
No, I've been meaning. I watched the movie Alien in like 2014. I've been meaning to watch the movie Aliens ever since.
I
and
haven't
just-
even watched Alien.
Alien's
I haven't
great.
seen Alien either.
I'll watch Alien.
I should
Why'd you
watch
watch
Alien.
Aliens then?
Because that's the one that I found on VHS first.
Okay.
I don't think you have to watch the first one first.
No,
Probably
you don't.
not.
I asked
The
my
plot's
dad,
pretty
like, do I need to
simple.
watch Alien 1 first? And he said
The
no.
plot's pretty simple. It's a really good movie, though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The second one isn't. I expected it to be scarier. It's more of an action movie. The second
that's
one.
what everyone
is.
says. The first one's a horror movie. The second one's like an action movie.
Yeah.
Which is
Why did you
kind
bring
of how
this up?
Stranger Things is, actually, with season 1 and 2.
Did
Like,
you bring
it's
this
the
up for a
exact same
reason?
thing. They kind of just ripped it off.
Someone's body gets ripped
Which is
in
like,
half.
there's more of them now, and now it's like
Okay.
one more down.
Is it as cool as this book? Would the chapter
Hey,
ends
I've been
mid-sentence?
ever since Stir has been a sleepy boy. I've been missing his unhinged references to other random bullshit while we're talking. Okay, let him cook.
You're right.
I was just listening the other day to our Humanimorphs recording, and I loved how long you talked about Anthrax, the band.
Yeah,
Dude,
was
that
a
part
great
is so
bit.
funny.
That whole episode was great.
You were gone the whole time in person, so you wouldn't have. You were in the
Yeah.
bathroom when you were doing that.
I guess
And
so.
I was, okay, back to this. He's like, oh yeah, Anthrax. He kept reading anyway. Yeah, my next note's about Princeton campus. So
I wonder what happens
I'm
in
a-
Princeton campus.
I can't believe how few notes I have for this book until except the beginning and end.
See how
I
you
like
two feel
how-
right now. That's how I feel at every book. Where it's like, how do you have so many notes for this?
I like how they go to the 1930s Princeton in an alternate universe where like a bunch of bad stuff has happened, and they still need to make the guy who is racist like a Southern guy. They still need to have him have a Southern accent specifically.
I mean,
and then somebody's like, "This ain't Alabama."
The British now.
Yeah, there's no America.
I guess they wouldn't still have.
I
British
love the
accents.
line, "There was no United States. What was in its place, I didn't know. But the United States of America had died on a sleet stormy night on the Delaware River. Suddenly, down the wide alley between tall buildings, a dolphin appeared." Like, okay.
And then Hitler.
Animorphs.
I thought
sentence.
that line was pretty based.
Yeah.
They're like, the United States is an empire. It makes more war. And I was like, and it's not now.
Haha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got him.
What a story.
I thought I liked Tobias in Princeton. I liked his solo adventure.
What did he do? I don't remember.
He
looked at a history book.
He sneaked into a locker room and stole some baggy clothes from a college
Was it someone's
student.
dorm, I think?
It's a dorm.
Window
Stole some
someone's
clothes and
dorm.
then found a history book and started flipping.
I like him looking around and he's like, yeah, everyone here has short hair and crew cuts.
Tobias.
They're mostly men. Oh, and they're all white. That's weird. Like, he realizes that after he notices everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Tobias was taking on his sneaky persona that he has in the TV show.
I mean, that would have been true in Princeton in the 1930s regardless, so...
Remember in the TV show
Yeah.
when Tobias kept snooping around?
No, we gotta watch more of that show.
Tobias isn't a human anymore in the show after episode 1.
Oh my
so
gosh, you're right.
we don't get to see Tobias wearing like a leather jacket
Man,
and sunglasses.
Tobias was so
sneaking
cool
behind
in
the
that
tree.
show. Like, he was wearing, like, the
Yeah.
coolest clothing.
He didn't seem like someone who'd get swirlies, that's for sure.
No.
Maybe.
Maybe they were just trying to, like, invert expectations. Like, they were trying to, like, tell kids, like, yeah, if you dress like this, you're a loser.
One thing I thought was weird is, like, so Tobias takes the time to sneak into to get someone's wardrobe to, like, match, because, like, they all are wearing, like, the same kind of stuff, and, like, they all have, like, short hair. And he's like, oh, I couldn't do anything about my shaggy hair. Everyone will just have to deal with it. And it's like, I don't know, look for... There's probably scissors in that dorm room, but, like, I don't know.
That would take forever.
Okay,
He's not gonna be able to cut his hair
Did you keep
well enough.
scissors in your
Wouldn't
dorm
look
room?
clean.
No.
Yes, I did have scissors in my dorm room.
So did I. Did you?
Yeah.
You all had scissors with you in your dorm room? Okay, that's surprising.
I think I did. I guess I did, yeah.
So I took a lot of like office supplies I never used in my dorm. I thought I was weird for it.
Well, there's one time when I was like, I need staples. I don't have a stapler in here. Or I was like, I was stapled or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool that he, like, when he, like, looked through a history book, and then, like, the history was different. That was cool, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it was. Rebellion colonial instead of...
Yeah, it described
Yeah,
George
the
Washington as, like, a
revolution.
rebel leader. I thought that was,
Yeah.
you know, like, history is written by the victors and everything. That was interesting.
Well, yeah, he is. It's literally what he is. So... In this universe, ICP's "Fuck Your Rebel Flag" song is about the colonial Americans.
Oh my gosh.
I love this when Cassie has a racism done to her.
Yeah, that's my favorite part
Most
of the book.
of the time, I'd probably have let it go.
Oh, why? Why is that your favorite part of the book?
No, I was kidding. Continue.
I've been called names before. I'd run into racism before. Mostly, I figured people like that were just sad, weak-minded fools. So most of the time, I just the way she talks about.
I mean,
I wonder if Cavalcade, like, had, like, a black person help with...
No,
I would
she
assume
definitely did not.
No.
Well, no, I said I wonder, assuming that she didn't.
But it's still cool. As a white person, I found this cool.
I really wanted her to murder that guy.
Me
as
too,
polar
as a
bear.
kid,
Like,
too,
I was
This was like another, like, Rachel, like, talking to the elephant abuser guy situation, where as a kid I was like, just murder him.
Well, I was just totally expecting it to happen because Cassie doesn't usually get that angry. I was like, oh, she's gonna figure. She's gonna.
I think that would be pretty out of character for
Am
Cassie
I
to
the
actually
only
murder
one
him over this.
Where when Cassie says, "Oh, you want me to be white?" When I was the only one who was expecting her to use her Rachel Morph at that point.
No, I forgot she has a Rachel Moore.
That would be funny if she morphed into it.
And then he's like, that's better. And then they shook hands. And then
Promise all.
She should have done that.
I thought it was a funny joke. They said, "Oh, you don't like my dark skin? How about if I'll turn white?" And then she morphs into a polar bear. That's
and then
cool.
she says, polar bear fur isn't actually white.
That
it's
really
clear.
justifies them not turning into penguins.
Yeah, see, batter, this is why. Penguins are black and white. It would have been too confusing. The author of book 25, the ghostwriter, is actually originally going to write them about penguins, but Capelgate, like, called him up on the phone and was like, hey, I have this idea. Can I air it out with you? I think you gotta make them polar bears because I have this idea for a future book that I want to write.
I thought it was
your book where freaking Marco explains the Holocaust to Axe.
No, this whole racism part just felt like crappy fan fiction.
The whole book did.
Actually, okay, I said it
It
was...
was just wish fulfillment. Like, I
Yeah.
knew it was satisfying, I guess, but like in a way that made you be like why am I reading this?
I said this was my
I
favorite
did
part of
the summary I wrote for this paragraph was white guy says the gamer world to black girl, instantly regrets it. So I mean, it is kind of a Darman.
This is a
video.
Darman type situation, definitely.
Yeah. But he didn't know she could turn white and also into a bear.
Yeah.
That is how Darman would solve that problem. It's just Cassie using her Rachel Morris. She was white all along.
I only turned black to fool you. I'm the CEO of this company.
This
I'm
scene
turning your
was-
badge.
Princeton University.
The scene was
You're expelled.
weird. A lot of weird stuff in this book. I liked a lot about this scene though. Actually, I thought it was cool how like she was like morphing in front of them, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And at first she was like, "Oh yeah, I know it's scary to morph," and they're like, "Oh, a colored girl." Like at first she thought that they were scared of the morphing.
That's really funny.
But
Like
they realized it was-
racists are so racist that they don't even care about the morphing thing as much as about a
It was
black
very,
person
it was very
existing.
odd.
But he was Southern, okay?
How did you do that? The man with the southern accent demanded, and then like some vile punctuation, he added a word I won't repeat. It was like a slap.
That is, like, I do think that people in the 1930s would say that, especially if it was like a black person doing
It's not
something weird.
unrealistic. It's just like, again, the kind of realism that seems a little bit much for an Animorphs book.
Nah, I welcome it.
I love it when my favorite characters get hate crimed. Yay!
I will say,
Cassie's your favorite character?
Me?
No.
Cassie's my favorite character sometimes.
Sometimes.
In some
That's a
books,
good
she's like by
answer.
far my least favorite character. I liked her in this
She's
book.
probably my
though.
least.
She was
my
totally
favorite
fine in this
character
book.
the last book.
I mean, like Batter said, all the
She's pretty good.
Animorphs were kind of similar in this book. Like, they didn't
Yeah.
have as much differentiation. Man, it's kind of sad when the ghostwriter in the last book did a better job giving the characters character
It
than
felt
Capelgate
very
does.
ghost written.
I think this
It
wasn't.
did.
So disappointed by the
Right.
writing of this book.
I think
Yeah, it
this
didn't
was.
feel like a Capelgate book.
Oh,
I think it's-
I thought you said she wrote all the Megamorphs.
No, sorry, I was gonna say I think this was written by Capelgate.
Oh.
Like, I still don't think it's ghost written because I don't think a ghostwriter would go this far
No.
with Capelgate's property.
Capelgate would like fire them immediately.
Well, no, she wouldn't. But I don't think a ghostwriter would be like willing to try.
I mean, this book kind of reminded me of the hamburger part.
What?
I mean, it's how different is it from like the slaughterhouse thing?
Book 23.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
28?
I
What are we
mean,
on?
pretty different, I'd say. What do you mean?
And
How
it
is it
feels like
different?
it crosses lines in a similar way.
28, yeah.
Where it goes on like these whole tirades about how we shouldn't kill cows.
Capelgate was like, there's a book, Capelgate read the book where the entire thing was a vegan message and was like, oh hey, I can do that, but about stuff I care about more, and then wrote this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, but this is definitely a line you don't cross in kids' books as much as the other one. Like,
This was the most like shocking book like throughout.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't as shocked by the Slaughter book.
dude, we only got 2 more books till the other Capelgate book, the last main series book.
Oh,
she wrote
no.
before
I
that
know
I
what
told
book
you.
that is.
Oh,
Yeah, according to
so
the
now there's two
Animorphs wiki,
Rachels.
which lists the ghostwriters, this book was written by Capelgate and Michael Grant.
It's some kind of voodoo trick, someone said.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he would call her the gamer word based on like.
So why do you keep saying the
But why
gamer word?
does this have to be in this book?
Do you want it to be in book 1 instead?
Like you saying that reminds me of when people are like, "Oh well, like this video game character, she like canonically likes being sexy, so I don't see how it's sexist." Like you're just using the in universe justification when I'm trying to say like there's no external justification. You know, like this is a Doyleist Watsonian type thing that we're.
Yeah, well, I guess what is the point of this scene being in the book? I guess
There's no
there's
point!
not like a message to it.
There's no point. It has nothing to do with any of the themes of anything that has happened
It's
so far.
Is it
just
about like
fun.
Is it
It's
like
just-
history
It's
would
just
be
crazy.
bad
fun
if-
in a weird,
just crazy.
gross way.
Was this like a pro George Washington message where if George Washington died, then everyone would be racist? Like, I don't
Mustard, people be. I think this book was saying that the 1930s and Southerners were racist generally, not like because of George Washington dying.
You don't think so?
No, because like they're.
I assume
I think
that,
you'd have to be very stupid to say
No,
to think
George
that.
Washington.
I know they
did
would
not-
say. I know they would say that. Okay, I don't agree that they
like,
wouldn't.
He literally like owned slaves.
I don't
I know,
George
I know.
Washington had
Listen,
an
I
anti-racist.
am not saying that I believe people would not have said that in the 30s, But I assumed that that's what Capelgate was going for, is that it happened
No.
because of the changed history.
No, I think
is what
it's just like
assumed.
I think Capelgate was just like, let's have a book, let's have a scene where
Where, for some reason, I want this little black girl to go in the past and have racism done to her, for some reason. I don't know.
well, because I'm writing a book about time travel. It's 1999.
I think I like it less
There's
if
no-
I'm thinking about it just would have happened in the 30s. I think I like it less if it's not part of the
Exactly. I
time
like it
travel
more
thing,
with
yeah.
Mustard's explanation. Is it, that it's somehow related to
Because
the
it just seems like
revolution.
more crass if it's just a normal thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just what would happen.
It's not what would happen because this whole stupid book didn't need to happen at all.
Well,
The
I'm not
whole plot
arguing
is
about the
just
whole.
so dumb.
Not
It's a
arguing
very
about the whole book.
self-contained book. I guess it could be your first Animorphs book if you never read another one after
If
this.
you don't
Yeah.
want to read any more Animorphs books.
Well, whatever. I guess I like it when racists get scared. So we
I-
should probably move on.
I thought it would have been cool if she killed him. I don't know why I was feeling that way. It was just like such a...
That would have been very out of character, Mustard.
Well, then...
Cassie bites down on his face with her giant bear.
I think that's why I thought she was going to kill him, because I thought she killed him right then. I think that's why.
I did too. Yeah, for a second. And then Davis babbled his apology. Into
I'm
my
sure the
open
guy
mouth.
stopped being racist after that one.
Dang, I had no idea black people could turn into freaking monsters.
Wow, I respect them and love them
Respect for
so
them
much.
and love.
Speaking of that being out of character, whoa, Cassie, that is so Rachel, Marco said. Marco
Nice.
suddenly shows up, and Rachel's also there. Does anything important happen? Oh, yes.
Nothing.
I like the part where, like, Rachel, you're not dead. And Rachel's...
Rachel, you are
someone
dead.
says, Rachel, you're dead. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. I saw it. I'm seriously not dead. And then Axe says, I'm convinced she is not dead.
So, does Rachel not remember the part where she was falling and looking at which was narrated?
No, for
That
some
part-
reason they have Marco explain this. Rachel remembers morphing to chimpanzee. She remembers climbing onto the rigging, and nothing. Suddenly she's here in Salmon.
Yeah, I guess because at the end, Jake also doesn't remember being shot.
I'd want to say that part made me laugh when he says, I'm convinced she's not dead. Not when he was shot.
Yeah, Axe's part was good, but everything that came before it was so cringe.
That was... Oh, do you
But
mean
we do
racism?
have a canon Tobias smooching Rachel on the list.
Oh, I was so surprised by that. I was like, really? Has that even happened
I
before?
don't think it has.
I thought that was cute. It was pretty earned, even though this.
Wait,
book-
they never smooched?
I don't think so.
Not even in the
Not
hawk?
not on screen. They don't have mouths as
Look, it's
hawks.
not
They have
Oh, yeah.
cloacas.
No,
They did the other
they
day.
didn't do
kiss.
that.
You know what I mean?
No.
I was listening to episode 8. I was like, man, the cloacal kiss thing is just at the beginning of this book. Why this one?
Episode 8.
Book 8.
Book
Episode, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, so the beginning of book 8 episode, it starts with us talking about hawk sex. By the way, there's a whole 5-minute conversation that I cut out about that. We went on for a while.
Stop digging us deeper into that hole, Mustard.
Yeah, mustard.
I can cut this out. I thought it was funny. It'll come out eventually, probably.
It'll come out eventually, no matter what I do.
Everything we do
Our
will
crimes
come
will
to
be
life.
uncovered.
Yeah.
At this part of the book I wrote, I was going to give this book a meh because there's a lot of boring war stuff, but that's fine so far, I think. Okay, that was my note for this.
My head is going to explode, Marco said. You need to be Einstein to figure this. Einstein? Friedman interrupted. Do you mean Albert Einstein, the German physicist? Yeah, Albert Einstein. There's another, Marco said, but he's in Germany. You know, Blue Eyes interrupted, there was a crazy fellow over in the dean's office yelling about Einstein. He was dressed very oddly, like a sailor perhaps. I thought at first he was a member of the philosophy faculty, but... Okay, and then I didn't need to actually read that last part, but I didn't have it highlighted. Anyway, yeah, so, talk about convenience. This... Marco briefly mentioning Einstein just sets these two students off for some reason. About this random physicist who, in their world, doesn't really matter all that much.
Yeah.
They're just really into physics, okay?
I thought it was really
And
funny.
racism.
But he's in Germany.
I thought it was really funny
Why would
when...
you ever mention somebody who doesn't live in the U.S.? How can this possibly prompt a conversation between us?
He was probably somewhat famous to Princeton students. I don't know.
No.
It's just
Well, he
so
He
sure.
probably took physics.
What I thought was funny was when someone was like, "Oh, Friedman, what does E equal?" And they're like, "He's what? E equals?" And he's like, "I don't know. What are you talking about?"
They take him not knowing what they're
I'm like,
talking
oh
about
my
as
God.
proof that
Yeah, they don't
Einstein-
even say yeah. No, that's very strange.
It's like, "Oh, dude, they don't know that E equals MC squared."
as if that means anything.
Yeah,
Or-
that just... I thought that was really funny. What does E equal? It's such a funny question to ask someone.
Yeah. Ready to go to D-Day?
Hang on,
Yeah.
let me check.
Did you guys know what D-Day was before reading this book?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't when I was a
You were
kid.
I think I didn't know that it was World War II exactly.
I think when
I
I was
think
reading this
wasn't
book
completely
originally, I
sure
pronounced
about
it
what-
like D-Day.
I think I wasn't totally sure what war was part of, but I knew it was like, yeah, they, like, whatever.
it's a big day.
It's a
I
big
still
war.
don't really know what it is. It's just like a big battle
There's
day.
a bunch
I
of
guess.
people
Haven't you guys
dying.
seen what's that movie called?
I've seen several World War II movies and do not really
The one where
retain.
they have to save the son because all of
Saving
them
Private Ryan?
Yeah.
No,
I don't
I
know
haven't
why
seen
I
I've
that.
heard that
too.
name, but I've never seen it.
Very iconic opening scene. That's one of the pieces of media where I just really like the opening and not the rest of the plot.
Oh, like this book.
Yeah.
Premiere.
So,
This book definitely did not communicate the experience of being a D-Day as well as that movie did, though, for me.
before the D-Day,
Sorry, guys. Megamorphs 3, The Andalite's Gift, or whatever this is called, did not communicate D-Day that well. I'm sorry to say. I knew you all had high hopes. But...
so, Visor 4, by the way, can I just say it was nice that Visor 3 wasn't in this book? I just want to say that.
Yeah, it was.
What if it turned out that
Visor
Hitler was
4.
Visor 3 more next time and morphed, and Hitler isn't actually a guy?
And for anyone who doesn't remember, I like Visor 3, but he is known to just pop in at the end of books randomly and just kind of, oh, it's actually Visor 3 the whole time.
So she wanted to do that, but she was like, well, I can't find a plot excuse for that. It has to be Hitler instead.
Hitler was the driver of the Jeep the whole time.
So I was confused when Visor 4 suddenly started using the time matrix and like teleporting to a bunch of different places. Like he said he was like trying to like lose them or something, but then it just didn't matter. What is the point of that? I was confused.
It was
How
He
does
was
that
trying
work?
to lose them because he didn't know how they were following him from place to place.
Okay, so that was just him being frustrated, and then I guess it doesn't work. Okay.
Yeah, it seems like
Well,
something
yeah,
to
but
try.
then when he got to D-Day, they took the time matrix away from him and arrested him, so he couldn't do that
Right
anymore.
away.
Well, somehow he and the Time
Well,
Matrix
stayed long
ended up
enough for
like
that to
in a
happen, I
tank.
guess.
Like the Germans like kidnapped him or something. He was in handcuffs. The Animorphs.
Yeah.
A bunch of random
I
crap
don't
happened
remember
in
any of
D-Day that I
this.
did not understand. Like
Yeah.
Rachel and Axe and Marco decided to try and like put a grenade into a tank for some reason. I don't know why.
They had to stop the
they-
line of tanks.
Yeah, actually,
because
whoever summarized
what
that
they thought
explained it
happened
well.
was that the Nazis were driving the tanks, and then Visor 4 told them to go to the beach so that they could slaughter everyone on the beach and win D-Day.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to stall the tanks.
I was
guess
so,
that
like,
didn't
out of it
happen
at this
because
point.
the
Like, I was so
Germans and
zoned
French
out
were on the
reading
same
this.
side, and like, they weren't sure if the Nazis even were there because nobody had Nazi arm patches on their arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, what if the Nazis are the good guys in this universe?
And they
now?
never
Because
really
we-
explained like what was even going on. So I don't blame you for being confused during this scene.
I was also
Or who
very
was
much
evil.
zoned out by this point in the book.
Yeah.
And there's a part where they, like, Capelgate decides to say, like, I support the troops, where she says, war is obscene, the worst thing humans do, but warriors, the individual men, are the very best of humanity, not because they are willing to kill, but because they are willing to risk death, to sacrifice themselves for others. And then they just go back to, like,
Yeah, that was.
and
a
then I
hamburger
slipped on a
moment.
banana peel and killed Hitler. And, like, and I'm like, so I don't, that was, like, very strange and out of place. Don't know
Yeah,
why
it
you
was
think they're the best of
different.
humanity.
That was a hamburger moment.
Wait, someone started reading.
Sorry, what is a hamburger? I feel like you already explained
when
what a
they're in the
hamburger
slaughterhouse,
was.
there's
When they
blood
eat
all over.
hamburgers
yeah,
after they
hamburgers.
go to a slaughterhouse.
Okay, yeah, I like the idea of, like, referring for the rest of the series, referring to stuff as hamburger moments.
Yes, we should do that.
Okay.
I'm coining it.
Someone started reading the "My vein was about to explode" quote.
What?
Earlier.
Me reading this book.
They say that like 5 different times in this one scene.
I thought it was interesting that like Marco was like saying that like this war was way worse than anything that he's seen because like
Yeah.
Animorphs have been in some like battles, you know, but like D-Day was a lot worse than that. He could like smell like dead people all over.
I smell dead people.
It
They
seemed
could
like
jump from one body to the other without touching the ground.
it was kind of a weird detail to me because I would have assumed that the Animorphs have seen like bad. I guess it's worse when it's
It's
humans
humans.
because
This
it's
is
not like aliens.
Yeah, like
And also they're
hundreds
in-
of thousands
well,
of people too.
I guess they're not in their own bodies. I don't know. Yeah, it's just humans. And this is definitely a bigger scale battle than anything they've done, that for sure. So
I
I think
couldn't-
that's
Yeah,
the main
exactly.
thing.
I could not block the fly's sense of smell. I smelled, tasted the spilled blood and drained bodily fluids. I couldn't help but smell them. The smell alone would haunt me for life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That sentence
Smelly
just
smell.
escapulates this whole book.
What do you mean?
What's that
Sorry,
SpongeBob
sorry.
line where it's like a smelly smell that smells smelly?
Yes, that's what it is referencing.
Yeah, that's what the book is referencing.
No. That was this. Wait, maybe it was. I think it was out by the time this book was written.
I think what didn't the
That's
first
like the
episode
first
of
SpongeBob episode.
SpongeBob was 1999, I think.
Yeah, so was this book, wasn't it?
Yeah, this book was May 1999.
Oh,
I don't know when
no, we're not gonna do another Elvis with this line, are we?
Oh no.
No, because it's not a reference. There's no way.
No, it's not a reference.
They haven't mentioned SpongeBob at all yet. Dude, there's gonna be an Animals book where they mention SpongeBob later.
There is. I'm so hyped.
Like, it's gotta be. Like, that was a huge thing. It's gotta be.
Oh, the goats are barking. That's
But
their
actually, don't you
hooves
have to be somewhere?
at 9.
Oh, okay.
So before the Hitler stuff happens, Visitor 4 is like, why don't you guys die? And how do you follow me? I have the time matrix. And then Tobias is like, Visitor 3's been trying to kill us for some time now. How to kill? And then the guy's like, I should have used the time matrix to kill Visitor 3, that bumbling fool. Bungling.
Okay.
We'd have helped you.
Oh well.
Hey, Visitor 3 was mentioned in this book. There he is.
Visitor 3 mentioned! Woo! Crab rave gif.
A style of mustache known everywhere as a Hitler mustache. Yeah, then Hitler happens.
Yeah, the way that's worded too.
The whole there was some the arguing about whether or not they should kill Hitler was kind of interesting to me.
Well, Animorphs answer that question, I guess.
When one of the Animorphs dropped a grenade into the
Yeah,
tank,
you
Kill
should
him,
never
but make it look like an
You-
accident.
Yeah. You should. Yeah, this was really just have your cake and eat it too.
It was.
I'm gonna stand up and be safe
Well,
and
because-
say you shouldn't kill Hitler if he wasn't a bad guy. I'm so moral. Oops, I killed Hitler.
yeah, you're
Oops,
right.
what's this? Oops, sorry. What's this blade doing at his throat? Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh no, did I just do that? Sorry. I like the way that Marco kills Visitor 4 Yerk. Because, like, he just picks him up. And then Marco, like, offers him to everyone else. He's like, do you want to kill him? And they all, like, shake their heads. And then Marco's like, whatever. And he just throws him into a fire. And he doesn't say anything else of it.
Is being burned alive really better than starving to death? Maybe if you're
Well,
a
it's
York.
fair.
If you're a Yerk, you're really small.
Yeah.
The fire goes through you
Yeah.
real fast.
Okay.
I'd think so.
Burning alive sucked, but Kendrona is said to be like torturous.
Yeah. No,
Burn
that's
starvation.
burning... well, as a human, burning alive is probably worse. I don't know. If I think of a Yerk being tossed in a fire, I just think of it going like...
Yeah, it would just
like,
disappear instantly.
immediately.
Right.
Like, because it's like a little piece
too
of... It's like
small.
just a little piece of cotton or something. I mean, it's wet, but you know what I mean, right? Like,
Yeah, but next
a
notes
human
podcast is
burning
done
takes
by
forever.
Aaron.
It's just a large object.
I can't believe how few notes I have on this book, even though I am talking a lot.
You have so many notes.
Yeah, but then I just scroll through my notes. I'm like, oh, I've like 5 chapters in a row where I have nothing.
I do like John Barrymore. He's a great character.
Yeah, I love John Barrymore.
He's annoying to the Visitor 4 because he quotes Shakespeare all the time. And the reason... I don't really understand why that means that the Visitor 4 tried to go back in time to stop the Battle of Agincourt.
Because in his head, he
like,
just kept repeating it over and over again. It was
but, like,
annoying.
just kill Shakespeare as a baby. Like,
No,
Well,
but
because
they
didn't know how
explained
to
that in the
fight
book!
Because they
Yeah.
just had to have another war.
No, it's because they said there was not enough concrete evidence about where Shakespeare was, especially not in this guy's mind, but the guy did know where this
Oh,
other
really?
thing was, so
Okay.
they were able to go back to
I
that.
didn't know that.
Or something.
You paid so much
Yeah, you
attention
paid so
to this
little
book.
attention, especially at the end.
With the time well, yeah, I said I was zoned out. With the time matrix, you can just like imagine anything, though. I don't
I don't
know.
think
I feel
that's
like you
true.
could just tell the time matrix go to Shakespeare, like.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like 800 people named
But whatever.
Shakespeare or
That's sort of like a technical, I guess, issue with the book, which doesn't matter that much. Whatever. I do like his dying words, where he's like, I don't know, something about his dying words just seem so much more real than everything else in this book. Like, how do they write this character to be the most likable? He says, "We few, we happy few, we band of brothers." He's quoting Shakespeare. "For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he ne'er. Oh God, I'm not going to be free. I'm dying. Oh God." I'm not going to be free. Like,
It's
he's
so
like,
sad that John Barrymore got the shortest end of the stick in this.
he's quoting like this happy like Shakespeare quote because that's what he likes, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to be free. I'm dying."
I like the part where he's
That's
like,
like sad. Like you like your Yerk leaves you, and then you're finally free, but you're not going to be free. 'Cause, I don't know. I'm just repeating what he said, but yeah, I don't know. It also just feels like a thing that someone who's dying would say somehow.
and then after he's dying, Cassie's like, John, do you know where your parents met?
Cassie
And
says
I was like,
something.
holy crap, she's gonna make it so he never existed.
Yeah.
That was like
Cassie
shocking to
like
me.
brings up how Drode called her the killer with a conscience or something,
Mhm.
and says like this is like that. This is what she's doing, And she's like, I wasn't going to kill John Berryman. John Berryman would never exist. Or something like that. I do kind of think it's kind of... They did the Hitler thing again, actually. Because they go back to the time, and they're like debating over whether to stop John Berryman from existing, and then they just don't meet because they're distracted.
I didn't notice that.
Like, they did that again, where they're like debating over it, and then...
Weren't they only debating over it because they're like, is the world better without the Holocaust?
Yeah.
But, like, I assume they were still going to do it. I didn't even notice that they didn't want to, really.
Yeah, it was a cop-out.
Now the Holocaust happened because of them.
Because the Animorphs.
Because they put a big shiny sphere in the San Francisco in the 60s, the Holocaust happened. If I were them, I'd definitely, go through with the undoing everything. Because, like, I don't have a very good reason to believe that things aren't worse in the future. Because, like, I know things were worse in the future we just had. So, like, I wouldn't really count on things being better.
Right, I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like you mentioned this, but I really like how like Marco tried to pass the yerk to everyone. I like when he says like, where did it go? Where did it go?
Like when he says "funny doo doo ha ha."
No, that's not what he says. Where is it? No,
but
I
liked when he said
on my
that.
page.
You liked it when he said that.
No.
That was funny, yeah.
Marco
where is
picked up
it?
Real, man.
Marco picked up Yerk.
Yeah, what did you say about the hippies that you liked so much?
No one's anxious to add another stain on their conscience. Everyone's had enough. And
I
then,
thought it was kind of out of character that Rachel didn't want to kill the Yerk.
and then
That was kind of cool, because it was like, wow, even Rachel doesn't. But Marco steps in to kill the Yerk, but even Rachel doesn't. That's pretty interesting.
And then Axe is like, okay, if we can stop this controller from finding the time matrix in the first instance, and then Cassie is like, my turn, I guess. I guess none of us will get through this without some terrible sin. This will be mine. And then she's like, oh, what's your name? Who are you? And where does your parents meet? And I liked that they made it so John Berwyn never existed, in that it was like foreshadowed in like the prologue of the book, where like Elfangor was like, oh, with the time matrix, you could make it so like a species never even existed. And that was like kind of foreshadowing to this moment.
They genocided the species John Berryman.
Well, you know what I mean. So someone doesn't exist.
Yeah, although that is just kind of like generic time travel speech,
Yeah, but that's definitely like foreshadowing.
Okay.
I would think. I like when Axe says, "What are hippies? Hip peas."
Yeah, he says
and peas is spelled P-E-E-S. It's not even like peas as like the like hip, like someone who pees who is anyway.
Yeah, isn't it usually P-I-E-S? Pies? Hip
Yeah,
pies?
it is.
No, that's how he spells
that would be
hippies. But when he says hip peas as two words, otherwise it would look like hip pies. You guys didn't like the hippies?
They're cool. I was gonna read a hippie quote.
Thank
What's
you.
real, man? The female wondered. Real is just like, it's like, like whatever, right?
Right on. Ride on my mom's car and go to soccer practice. The United States...
What?
Amazing, Marco said. The United States is gone, at least way different. The Nazis never happened. Einstein, who knows? But hippies are right where they were supposed to be.
Haha.
But then they say maybe...
The droids said that our own
something.
timelines were buffered protected. Maybe the time matrix did that for John too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh
So
man, the colors,
their
man.
timelines couldn't be disrupted.
I like that the hippies were just kind of like annoying to them and being like stereotypical hippies. That was funny to me.
They were just stereotypical hippies.
I laughed at the hippies being
Cavalcade
annoying.
has the most, like, NPC other characters in existence.
Yeah, except with the character's parents in one book.
And the John Berryman, except for, like, characters' parents and the former controllers.
I like that Jake's like, oh, in the end, did we do it? Did we put it all right? Did we make it all right? And then I think Cassie is like, yeah, it's Cassie because it says I gave him a kiss on the cheek. No, we didn't make it.
That was Marco.
No, we didn't make it right, but we put it back, Jake. Leave it at that. We put it all back. I think that was the end of the book.
Yep.
I should have gave this a mare.
I vote just because there was too much war stuff. I mean, it wasn't like completely boring, I guess, and it was well done, and the plot was interesting. And that's why I gave it a thumbs up. But a lot of this book was very boring. It was just such a unique Animorphs book. I didn't feel right giving it anything else,
That's fair.
Like, I'm very glad I read this one, more so than a lot of other ones, I think. Like, it was a very unique experience from Animorphs.
Oh yeah, like the same reason we gave the Crocodile book a thumbs up. It's like, okay, it's
Very
something
different
very
tone.
different.
But to me, Animorphs books are different enough to already be good. It tried
Well, I
something
didn't say
new,
it was good.
but
just that I
IMO
approved.
it failed. That's why it's a thumb down.
Yeah, I really like the ones that are totally different. Like what's the what Hook Future Chronicles is totally different, and I think the one with Tobias is like trying to find his mom or whatever is totally different in like plot structure and everything. I like that one a lot. Yeah, 23. Yeah. And no one else liked that one.
And it was more about his like parents in
Yeah,
general.
I forget exactly what. I don't remember a lot of that book, but that one had a very different structure. I think to a lot of the Animorphs books, and I like that about it. Yeah, any other notes about this book?
Any final thoughts?
Nope. Okay, do time.
Okay, sign off. Stir, who are you?
Dude, stop it. It's not the order.
We go backwards when we're signing off. We always do that.
What?
We literally do not.
You're gaslighting me.
You're gaslighting
You then
us.
can pretend.
Stir, go!
You are thinking of Catan.
You literally then.
Why
can
can't I just
pretend.
add a new little fun thing? We never usually, we didn't.
So you admit
We
it,
did sign offs in
though.
like the first episode, and we never did it again.
Also, we already did the joke where we're asking people what their names are, okay?
No, but I didn't
come up
want
with
Holy
to say
something
crap.
more unique.
Cheers episode.
The next
That's
book,
not a joke.
the next book, Alternamorphs, is literally half the length of this one.
Epic.
Well, this one makes sense. Are we reading that on there?
It says only like 45
Yeah, I had a
pages.
suggestion. We should probably do the joke first, though.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, the joke's the end of the episode.
Okay.
We don't need to talk
We don't
about
have
the
to record.
suggestion on recording.
Yeah, we don't have
So-
to have that be part of the recording.
Okay.
We can.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Sid.
Sid from Toy Story?
Sid from Ice Age?
No.
Sid from Sid the Science Kid?
No.
Sid who?
This is a future where reference humor is just all of our jokes.
You have to guess.
Sit
what
on my
it is.
lap and tell me what you want for
Sit
Christmas.
on my face.
Sit on my face.
Prince
And
Siddhartha?
tell me what you want for
It is
Christmas.
related
Sit
to
on my
Sid-
face and tell me what you want for Christmas.
It is related to sitting, but it's closer to like the other
Rebecca
jokes.
Claus.
This joke book has like some themes
Sit
in
in
it.
your desk and learn about math.
Sit down and open your textbook to page 4.
That's close enough.
Okay.
Sit down and finish your work.
Oh, okay.
Imagine like somebody knocks on your door and says that to you.
I'm
It's pretty
stir.
creepy. We didn't sign out.
Oh yeah, I mean natural.
I'm better.
I'm mustard.
I'm stir.
I think it'd be cool if we did it backwards.
You then you can pretend. That's the
I can
only
think of.
reason,
I can
isn't it?
be inspired by Catan to make a creative decision, and then it's like be natural, like
Animorphs?
sandwiches us.
Yeah, we should make a new podcast called Animorphs. We play Catan, but we're the Animorphs Book Club. I mean, an Animorphs Book Club podcast people.
For some
We're the
of many, a group of many Animorphs Book Club podcast people.
No, we already have a spin-off planned for like 8 years in the future or whatever.
Oh yeah. The book 8 review.
That's gonna be
podcast.
hype. We're gonna review every book 8 episode of all the other Animals podcasts.